What up, Chicago? Chicago Bears fans. What up, Brandon? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. How about you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. This is the Bare Minimum, brought to you by Four Star Chicago Sports. I'm Dustin Jones. We're gonna get into this Bears Browns game. It's a very important one. Obviously, you got a chance to get 10 wins against a team that you really should beat at home. So we're gonna dive into that. We're gonna talk some Caleb. We're gonna talk Bears all around and whatever y'all want to talk about. Let's get it going right after this. Bear down.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars aligned. Dynasty dreams rise, bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sundays, midfield battles cute. Chicago.
Yo, yo, yo. What up, Vizzo Joe? How you doing, brother? Thank you for being here. You're my favorite. Brandon, how we feeling tonight? You ready to talk this Bears game?
Yeah. What's going on, Vizzo Joe? Yeah, let's
Vizzo
do it. Let's
is the
let's
man.
let's not overlook this one. Let's dive into it, Dustin.
Oh, well, first, we were both texting back and forth about that game tonight. The Falcons
Oh yeah, let's talk
go
about
on
that
the
game.
road and surprise the Bucks, who are like playing for their lives. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to spend too much time on it. But there were just a
I
few
want to
things
talk
that
about
stood
it.
out to me. There was a few things that stood out to me, and the main one is that the Bucks lost the game when the Falcons had 19 fucking penalties. That's the main thing that stood out to me, Brandon. When a team is shooting themselves in the foot like that, and you can't put them out of their misery, I don't trust you as a football team. The Bucks have been suspect for a while. They just got all their weapons back. It seems like they're trying to knock the rust off, but they struggled to score. They got a lot of first downs on offense because of those penalties by the Falcons, and they still couldn't capitalize. If I was a Bucks fan, I'd be very concerned, bro. Very concerned.
Well, a couple of things, man. One is like, well, yeah, the Bucks season is they're not gonna. I don't. I'm with you, man. They play the Panthers twice. They're
Yeah, it's gonna come
losing.
down
They're
to those
losing.
games.
They're losing two out of every three games for the last few months. They're not going to win that division, and I think that Bulls should be fired. And I also believe what's his name, man, the offensive coordinator that replaced Liam Cohen, the play caller. I can't remember the guy's name.
I don't think it's worth mentioning. It's like Brazier or some shit.
But yeah, yeah,
It's
there's
like a
like
weird.
Z's and stuff in there for
Yeah,
sure, dude.
yeah.
But
He's not good.
but I watched that guy, and like I have this. I'm like a snob now, man. Because we have Ben Johnson here, and I'm watching this guy, and I'm so critical of
This
this
guy's
guy.
like another fucking
Yeah,
Luke Getzey.
I'm so critical, right? I'm so critical of this guy because I'm finally this guy that can stand on this pedestal. Like, I've got one of the best, but I'm like, man, dude, they have a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter with 9 minutes to go. All this
You're
guy's got to
passing the
do
ball. Yeah.
is run the damn football. And I'm serious, Dustin. For one whole drive, he didn't run the ball, and Baker threw a pick. It was like, what are you doing? Every incompletion he threw, stop the clock. You know what I mean? I was just like, what are you doing, man? What's this guy? I don't understand. He was like he wanted to allow the Falcons to get
It
somehow
was a
play their way back in
master
that.
class in how to lose a game. It was
Yeah,
a master.
I've never seen a coach, any coach,
Well,
play
we've seen
caller,
that before, Brandon. What you're gonna say? You've never seen them throw like guys
just
do that.
throw when
Yeah, I've
all they
seen it.
have to do
We've seen it
is
before, but
run the clock out
no,
and
yeah,
protect the football.
it
Those are
was
the two
pretty
things you got to
it
do.
was pretty pathetic. I just kept saying the Bucks should be ashamed of themselves, Brandon, and they should be to lose that game at home when you need it for the division. The way they lost it, it's a problem. Yeah, and yeah, just throwing the ball the way they did instead of trying to run it out. It didn't make much sense. I mean, towards the end there, I guess them throwing the ball made some sense on that last drive before they gave the Falcons the chance to score because they were just trying to put that game away. But they put themselves in a bad spot by doing what you're talking about right now. And Baker don't look the same, and their run game really don't
Well,
look the same either, Brandon.
that's yeah. No, the run game looks awful. Liam Cohen was the reason the run game was.
Yep,
I've said time and time again, man. He is good
you
at
did.
that. He's got
Yeah.
a knack for that, for sure. He knows how to do it. And Liam Cohen had both those backs, Irving and White, really involved in passing. Just not seeing it this year, man. And I thought Baker was kind of dependent on that because that offensive line, just top to bottom, is not good. That Bucks offensive line
Yeah,
is
they got
not
one
good.
of the best offensive linemen in football in Wirfs, but yeah,
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
it's pretty remarkable how bad the rest can actually be with a guy like that on the end.
Yeah.
But another thing I wanted to say, man, is between these guys,
Cole Kmet
Evans.
is still better than Kyle Pitts.
No, I wasn't going to talk about it. Well, Kyle Pitts we'll get into because I mean,
It's a running thing. We can
Jesus, man. But no, I was watching tonight's game, and I've watched a lot of Bucks because I do like the Bucks when they're on.
You
When
were
I can
really high
watch
on
them.
them going into this season.
Well,
I
yeah,
think I
when I
got them at
can
9
watch them,
wins.
and I like Baker a lot, man. But
Yeah, me too.
I'm between Evans and Godwin and McMillan and Igbuka. They have all missed games this year, missed time this season. Otten too, I believe. Baker puts receivers in the worst positions to catch a football.
What up, AC?
Every time a receiver went up for a big pass that Baker threw, they got murdered after the catch, like defensively or defenselessly, just murdered. And I was like, man, did you see the catch that Mike Evans got taken out of the game for earlier in the game? Not when you texted me.
I was at
Evans
work. I was at work,
okay.
man. I
You
didn't
said
see
Evans is injured again
all of that.
later. You
Yeah.
missed. Evans went up for a pass that was like 2-3 feet above him, like two above his high point. So, but he still like fingertip kind of touched it. But he got hit at the legs and he fell like top of the back, neck first, and his legs bent over him and like hit the like he got bent, bro.
I would
And
like
he
you to give
left.
me a better like physical example. Can you just try to do
Well,
that?
here's a
right
good
now?
example. Did you
I'm
see
trying
the
to
play?
picture it, but-
Did you see the play that broke Jalen McMillan's vertebrae?
Yes, for sure.
It was just like that. That's what it looked like. And I'm thinking, man, Baker throws these passes and puts these guys in
They're called
awful
medicine
positions.
balls.
It
They're
happened to
called medicine
Igbuka. It
balls,
happened to
yeah.
Igbuka today too, man. It's something I noticed that happens frequently. I was like, has this been a thing all year? Like, have I just not really noticed this? But
Baker hasn't been good
you
for
could
like
tell
the better
Mike
part of
Evans,
a
man,
month.
Mike Evans was really upset after that hit. Like, what are you doing to me, man? I just got back out here. I've missed the whole season.
Listen, I don't know if they're going to control that division. It doesn't look like it. I think the Panthers are going to win it. And like you said, they're playing them twice. So it's going to come down to who wins those games, who wins this division. But I mean, another thing that stood out to me in that game, man, the Falcons ended up winning the game. But when they scored a touchdown to get it within a touchdown, Bijan Robinson ran a touchdown. Like, I was like, oh, they got a touchdown. I walked away. I come back and they're going for 2 and missing it. Like, as I walk back, and I'm like, why the fuck were they going for 2 there? And apparently the analytics say to go for the 2 there. Makes no fucking sense to me. The analytics are dumb to me in that situation. Like, I would rather go for the 2 for the win when I know I need it versus go for the 2 and not get it, a touchdown early. And now I'm forcing myself to have to go for the 2 when I get the next touchdown to tie the game, which is much more pressure. And like, it just
taking the 1 point.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because now you give
could have
yourself
tied the game taking extra points.
Exactly, and then but they ended up getting the field goal to win the game. But like the analytics movement
No, I thought both
just
coaches
a little over the top,
proved
man.
themselves. Dustin, and listen, I don't want anybody in the chat. I don't want anybody.
There's nobody there.
This is not a race thing. These two coaches have both been head coaches before, then went back to the coordinator position. Now they're back to being head coaches. They're both older guys. They're both defensive guys. These coaches remind me a lot of each other. They always have. And I think that they're both not retainable head coaches. Neither one. I don't think these guys.
We were talking about it. Raheem Morris has one of the worst records in NFL history as a head coach. It's not good. 371 winning percentage. I think you screenshotted like it, and I knew it was bad.
Yeah, 376 or something.
Yeah,
really
not good.
Low.
Not
really
good.
Low. Really low.
I don't think he maintains his job past this season. But they played really hard in that game, and they didn't give up. And they had a third and 28, turned it to a 4th and 14, and got a first down. The white guy who dropped the touchdown, I was like, "You're giving us a bad name, Sills." And then he comes out and makes some big plays, and they got in position to win that game. I mean, and then the other thing to talk about in that game is Pitts. Pitts played a game like how you expected Pitts to play a lot of games when he was drafted in the top 10 by this Falcons team and what the Falcons envisioned when they drafted him. And I mean, like, it's well and good to be the number one receiver, but like, he was amazing in that game. 3 touchdowns in that game. That's what he needs to be, a consistent red zone threat. Do I have a response to your Baker Mayfield theory?
No, both of these guys are not head coaches in the NFL.
I mean, I think Bowles is fine. There's a good chance the Bucs still make the playoffs, man. That remains to be seen. I don't want to comment on that now. I don't know if Bowles is on the hot seat. I mean, he just lost his offensive coordinator. Now, it looks like he made a bad pick in terms of who he was replacing that guy with. But coaches like that tend to get another year, especially one that's had the success.
And his defense is terrible. Don't forget about that.
For sure. And I mean, like, if he loses his job, it's no skin off my back. I don't really care. I don't know that he's in that position.
Well, he's a defensive coach, man.
I think Raheem Morris is going to get fired. I think Raheem Morris is going to get fired this offseason. I mean, it's just not there. He was a great defensive coordinator when he went back to that role with the Los Angeles Rams, but the head coaching thing, it just does not work for him. There's some good talent on that team, and I expected the Falcons to be a lot better this year, and I think they've underperformed given the talent that they have, to be honest. So, I mean, I don't know what case he makes to keep his job. And as you pointed out, I think Zach Robinson's a pretty shit offensive coordinator on top of it. I think that whole coaching staff is on the chopping block. In Atlanta, I don't know so much about Tampa. I would see them letting him pick another offensive coordinator and go in that direction. The offensive coordinator gets the scapegoating. To answer your question.
Zach Robinson.
Oh, shit. I wish I would have seen that.
Zach Robinson is like now.
What's up, John?
My biggest criticism, man, was that Bijan was never involved enough, and now he is. I mean, like, he's having a phenomenal year. He's like probably 40% of the production of that offense, and it still doesn't result in a winning offense. And I don't know what Zach Robinson's lacking, but something's just
he's lacking a quarterback.
Well, I knew you were going to say that, man, but it's not when you have a Drake London and a Kyle Pitts and a Bijan Robinson and a serviceable guy who's not turning the ball over, because
Mikey's in the building. What up, Mikey?
Wasn't turning the ball over at a high rate either. So it's like he just can't put it all together. I don't know what it is, man. He can't get it all
right. Brandon,
running,
we need these
passing,
guys in the chat.
Yeah,
when I'm shouting them out, don't talk louder. Hey, welcome to the chat.
Well, maybe John, wait till I finish and shut them out.
It's a real time thing. It's happening. They chime in, and I'm just shouting them out as they're chiming in.
What's up, Mikey?
Appreciate
shut
y'all
up, Dustin.
Here. Fuck you, Brandon. All right. Pitts had a great game, 3 touchdowns. He had 1 touchdown all year going into this game. He had 11 touchdowns for his career going into this game. He literally caught 25% of his touchdowns, a little over actually, in this game that he had for his entire career. That was the story of the game for the Falcons. He was fucking unbelievable.
And
that's what he should be. That's what he should be all the time, Brandon.
Well, you keep saying that, man, but like I also
do, and I will.
The work he did in the middle of the field was impressive. He was getting really big chunk gains in the middle of the field. He was getting 20, 30-yard receptions in the middle of the field. He was the guy that was bringing that offense down the field when Bijan Robinson wasn't, man. They showed a stat between the two of them. They had like 290. They had like 290 yards between Bijan and Pitts. The rest of the team had like 43. I mean, those two guys put that team on their back.
The damage that Pitts did the most in that game was on the boundaries, and I just want to see more of that. Just using your big body and your frame to,
And he got a lot of yards after
get outside, and he's got speed for that size. It's like that. That's what he should be doing consistently. Not like you're going to catch 3 touchdowns every game, but you should be a threat to catch a touchdown anytime that team is in the red zone. It's like he's not existing,
especially without London.
And you say that, and I agree with you. Someone's got to step up in that role, but at the same time, like, I think the Falcons desperately need him to be that dude when London is on the field, because he's supposed to be the other guy. Those two bouncing off of each other.
I mean,
like that's what would make that offense really good.
Because 20 of Drake London's 23 touchdowns are
It's
in the
not a
red
standard.
zone.
It's not a standard. No, I totally understand. London's a great red zone threat, but
Yeah,
like
he's your
when
guy.
you're a defense and you have to worry about both of them, then they both get better.
I
But,
get
you
it.
know,
I get it.
that's just the reality.
And I like since the London injury, however, I do think Pitts has been playing good football.
He's been playing good football.
Yeah.
He hasn't been playing great football. Tonight he played great football, and I think when you draft the
like
tight
I
end
said,
in
we
the top
talked
10,
about this, man.
that's what you want.
I don't know that this is who he's going to be moving forward for like the rest of the season, but he had a really good game tonight.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns in a game is not like going to be the norm. That's not what I'm saying.
I mean the 150 yards on 11 receptions or whatever. He had a monster game, dude.
Well, at this point, he is tied with Colston Loveland for touchdowns on the season, and he just had 3 touchdowns in that game. I guess that's my point. Like, that's what you want that tight end to be, a red zone threat. That's why you draft the tight end in that spot. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's taken him a while to have a game like
that. It's taken him far too long.
So that's what I mean. I don't think that's like, oh, he's the guy we drafted and with the 4th overall pick now.
That's why if you string games together like that, where you become that threat consistently, then we're talking about something. These past couple of games, I don't know.
Cousins is playing at a high level, man. That'll benefit Pitts and only Pitts because nobody else is left.
I want to talk to Kyle for a second and ask honestly, like, do you legitimately have a leg fracture? What the fuck happened, man? What are you doing out there? Did you try to catch a ball from JJ McCarthy? How does this happen, Kyle? Is this legit? Mikey says Pitts is just inconsistent.
I think listen, man, it's just a really in-depth joke to say that he fell off the bandwagon because the Bears lost the Packers.
No, I get it. I was hitting him back with another really in-depth joke about JJ McCarthy sucking ass and being an inaccurate passer. You were talking about medicine balls. It felt apropos.
He's a stardom this week, I think, in fantasy.
For who? Not for me. I got Drake May and Dak Prescott.
He's owned in like 12% of leagues, so not for many people at all.
Yeah. That's a funny thing that you just said. He's a stardom. Okay. Listen, everybody in the chat, thank you for being
like
here.
The worst pass defense in football, man.
No, I get you, man. But all I'm saying is I don't give a shit.
The Cowboys,
I don't trust JJ McCarthy.
Right? He's playing the Cowboys.
Yeah, Sunday Night Football. But I don't trust JJ McCarthy if he's playing a woman's flag football team. Honestly, I would not. It's not a stardom for me. That's all I'm saying. But the Bucks lost the game. Tough loss at home. Panthers and Bucks. Those are going to be 2 really good games. The NFC South is kind of what I expected it to be. A battle of attrition for like who's the best worst team in that division. So we'll see how that plays out. Kyle, your QB paints his fingernails. Let's not take shots when we have a Kyle. Yeah, you did say you were on the bandwagon, Kyle. I'm sorry. I just can't stand JJ McCarthy. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Doesn't the Packers win benefit the Lions?
A Packers win?
I thought the Lions fans were rooting for the Packers in that football game.
Well, he's a Vikings fan. I'm confused why you're bringing up the Lions.
Oh, he's a Vikings fan. His name's Purple Jesus.
We're talking about
it messes with me when he's not Purple Jesus, man. I'm telling you. We have this problem every time. But yeah, I think Lions fans were rooting for the Packers in that football game.
Well, I mean, yeah, because that keeps the Bears closer to them because that's the wild card spot. But I mean, either
the Bears again.
Yeah, where they don't have the shot again to beat the Packers, they lost 2 in a row. It's all stupid. At the end of the day, just win enough games, and that's what we're about to talk about here with the Bears, man. Because they're going to be at Soldier Field. It's going to be cold as shit, negative 20 degrees potential, and I am not looking forward to like having to go outside that day, and I fucking do, which sucks. But so do the Bears, and so do the Browns, and this is they're all must wins. You know, each next game is a must win. But when you look at what this schedule shows, Brandon, for the Chicago Bears, you got the Browns at home, then you got the Packers at home, then you're going on the road to Santa Clara to the Niners, then you got the Lions at home. You're really looking at this Browns game as like, we got to have that one. Let's put that one in our pocket and bank it because that gets us to 10 fucking wins. And that one win really away out of those next 3 from really feeling good about being in the playoffs. We saw tonight they got a 66, according to next gen stats, they got a 66% probability to go to the playoffs right now. That shifts dramatically if they lose this game on Sunday, Brandon.
Yeah, it's a team that they're better than, Dustin, and
100%.
and it's a rookie quarterback, and the Bears have been playing well against the quarterbacks they've played that aren't at the top tier of the league, right? That we've played a lot of shitty quarterbacks this season, man. I don't know. I don't mean to. I mean, they are. These guys were all backups, but Sanders at this juncture of his career is pretty comparable to a backup quarterback. He's obviously going to make some mistakes. He's young. He's not processing at the same speed he will be in a year or two from now. So when you take advantage of guys like these, and I think the Bears need to treat this game like I said, man. This is to me this game, because you lost that Packers game. This game became far more important to me because you were on a feel good winning streak. You're doing coaches taking his shirt off. Things are going, locker room's crazy. Like the vibe this team had. You go lose to your rival for your division. That's a big loss. It's a tough loss. Ben Johnson even said it. Those ones fucking sting, man. So how do you come out and respond to a team that you should, the way you've been playing football, man, you should go out and just really kind of dominate this football team.
Yeah, man. And if you don't, or if you potentially lose, now the season starts to take a
If
very
you lose,
different
I would
turn.
be convinced.
Very
You could convince me they'll lose every game for the rest of the year.
Yeah, because if you can lose to the Browns at home, you can lose to certainly can lose to all these other teams. That's kind of my point. Like, you gotta bank this one. Mikey says, will 11 wins do it? I honestly refuse to believe that 11 wins won't do it.
Yeah, I think it will.
And I keep hearing people say this, but then you just watch the Buccaneers lose at home to the fucking Atlanta Falcons.
I keep saying this.
You've seen the Packers lose at home to the Panthers. Like, these teams are not going to be. It's not going to be a bunch of 12-win teams in the playoffs. Like, there's going to be some more losses. And we 11 should do it in my mind.
We keep having this conversation. Everybody keeps asking this question. Mikey, I love you, and I keep saying the same thing. People need to tune into this show more often. The Bears play the three teams that are fucking racing. Right, the teams that are in the race right now with the Bears, they play all three of them. So
if they get one win against,
if you get 11 wins, let's say you get the 2 wins between those 3 games, you lose to the Browns, and you get the 2 wins between those 2. That will dictate whether or not you're in the playoffs. I believe that. I think if you beat the Niners and if you beat the Packers, I think you can put yourself in the playoffs.
Yeah, because you're handing the teams that you're competing with for positioning.
And the Packers have really tough games too, Dustin, outside of the Bears. So you want to attack the Packers because they have. I know people keep saying the Ravens are just different. They are, but I still think Lamar can steal a game from you whenever he wants. And then you've got the Broncos, who, Dustin, you keep saying they're a bad good team, but they're winning, man. They're winning football games.
Yep, and they're good in Denver. Yeah, so I mean, like, the Lions are playing at Los Angeles this week. That is a fucking tough one. Then they got the Steelers, who are like Jekyll and Hyde. One week they're great, the next week they're one of the worst teams in the league. It's very strange. Then they're at the Vikings. They lost to the Vikings at home already, and then they're at the Bears in Soldier Field. The Lions' schedule is fucking tough. The Packers are going to Denver. Then they're coming to Chicago. Then they're hosting the Ravens, and then they're at the Vikings. This ain't easy for nobody on this list that's trying to get through here.
I think it's worth mentioning too, man, that like the Bears team, you're hoping, especially Caleb, but the Bears team that Lions team's going to play in the last week of the year,
very different than the one they played in week 2.
Yes,
much different,
because they're going to be better than they are even now,
and
they are much better now than they were when they played the Lions in week 2. So this is going to be night and day. When I hope the Lions, and Dan Campbell's not a guy who's going to sleep on that. He's aware of these things. He knows who Ben Johnson is in and out. But I do believe going to Chicago with the script that's going to follow that game. You know what I mean? With it's Ben Johnson's old team coming to his house for the first time as a head coach. The Detroit fan base treated him very poorly when he left, when he decided to go coach the Bears. It's a big, it might determine who makes the playoffs. The script on that game might be huge. And I just can't see the Bears players letting Ben Johnson down in that moment, man.
Mikey, are you saying the Lions are not as good as they were at the beginning of the season? Not as dangerous? I mean,
their offense still is.
They've had some injuries.
Their defense is rough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, it is a very different team, but I mean, they're still dangerous in terms of those weapons and
outside of Aiden Hutchinson, man, they've had some really poor play from their defensive line too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're gonna get into the Lions. Just more making the point, like 11 wins is gonna get you in. I just refuse to believe it
Yeah,
won't.
I think
To
so.
answer your question, Mikey,
I think
because
so.
these teams are
We
going
just
to
looked at
lose
those
more.
schedules. Those are
All
tough.
these teams are going to lose a couple something. They're not just going to win out. The Packers aren't winning out. The Lions aren't winning out. The Niners aren't winning out. Like these teams all have tough slates, man, to finish out this season, and you're going to play multiple division games as well, and we all know how that goes. So I mean, Mike says you can disagree with me, but I think the Lions staff is imploding. No, we've talked about that. We talked about the offensive coordinator situation, Dan Campbell taking over the play calling.
I've
That's
said a
never a
lot.
good thing.
It's never good when you're making those
Shannon, my
decisions.
man. Sorry, Brandon. Shannon, what's up?
What's going on,
Thanks for being
Shannon?
here.
When
Welcome
you're
to the bare
making those
minimum.
decisions mid-season, something's going wrong, man. You don't
Yeah.
you don't make changes if things are working. Like that's just. But look at that offense. I mean, right now it's pretty fucking high-powered.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
And I mean,
high
they have
octane.
talent. They have talent. The coaching staff might be imploding, but there's still really good talent on the football
And
field.
Jameer
So
Gibbs is playing on
one of the
another
best
level.
players in the league. Yeah. So I mean, like there's some things to worry about with the Lions. But as I said, as we've said all year, this is a weird fucking season. None of these teams have established themselves as like that dominant team, besides maybe the Rams.
Which is great. Which is
That's
great.
it,
It's
right?
great.
So the window's wide open. All I'm saying is 11 wins gets you in, and if it doesn't, as a Bears fan, the Bears get 11 wins and don't make the fucking playoffs. Brandon, sick to my stomach. That's a giant kick in the nuts. When like you get your shit together, you get the new head coach, you have this miracle season where you win 11 games and you don't make the playoffs because the field of competition was that strong. That would be like typical Bearsy bullshit, man. It really would.
Yeah, well, will
Can't
be
deal with that.
typical luck for a Bears fan too, because the NFC is always terrible. The NFC usually in the NFC you can have like 9 wins.
There's like there's been the Seahawks made the playoffs with 7 wins.
7, yeah. And like the one year the Bears would finally get a winning record, every other team in the NFC is just dominant. And it's I do still find it hard to believe though, Dustin, that all of these some of these teams are going to fall out of the race on their own without the aid of and I do think, like I said, if the Bears, Ben Johnson's aware that the teams that he's got on his schedule are the teams that he needs to lose football games, and the Bears just have to be able to take advantage of it. The Bears' fate is really in their hands. So, and you're correct. If they lose, or if they win 11 games and miss the playoffs, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing they can do. They play
Yeah,
good
you
football.
did what you had to
But
do.
if they lose the 3 games to the teams that are in that race with them,
Well, then
it's on the
shame on
Bears.
them. Yeah,
It's
you
on
had
the
your
Bears.
you got control of your own
Yeah.
destiny right now.
It worked out in
you
your
are
favor, and you
yeah.
didn't take
The
advantage of it.
schedule is laid out perfectly for you to
Yeah.
knock these teams that are above you down a peg, and you crawl your way up. We're gonna see what the Bears
Yep.
are made of.
You beat
these
these
last 4
teams because
games.
that's why these games are so important, Dustin. What you just said, you're not only winning a game and pushing yourself a little
You're
further in the
knocking them
race,
down.
you're pushing
Yeah.
it. There's a step back now, so it's like those games can make the difference for the Bears' outcome.
Yep.
Those games alone.
Nick, my brother, what's up, dude? He says, I hope the Lions game is cold as hell. They will not have played a game outdoors since 11-16 when they come to
Yeah,
Soldier
that's a
Field.
good point, Nick.
Nick always comes in and just makes
2
like these real
seasons.
succinct points.
In 2 seasons, Jared Goff has played in the cold like twice, I think, man. Because it was the same story last year. Last season, the Lions got away with only playing 1 game outside in winter.
Yeah, there were a lot of domes,
So, like,
a lot of domes for them last year.
The schedules have been playing well, and they've played the outside games early.
Yeah, where the weather's not as much of a
So
factor.
for 2 seasons, they've kind of just been granted that, and like Nick's got a point there. This might be the first time Jared Goff sees the cold in a long time, and that's
Yeah, the
never good for him.
Lions going to be practicing outside going into that game. Listen, the Bears control their destiny. Their fate is in their hands. All of those cliche things you want to say, you just got to come out and be more prepared, make less mistakes, and play your brand of football and win at least 2 of these games. Just at least win 2. And the Bears have that. They have that right in front of them. If they don't do that and they don't earn it, then like they didn't earn it, and they shouldn't be in the playoffs. But if they do that, they're going to be in, and it's going to be a fun finish to the stretch of this season, man. Fun finish.
And you worry about it, and you hate this because it's like you said, Bearsy. It feels like to win, what, 8 out of 9 games or whatever it was. You just a little streak you just went on, and then at the end of the season, with
4 in a
4
row, a
left,
loss, and then 5 in
with
a
4
row.
left, you can't
Yeah.
even split 2. After winning 8 out of 9, you can't split 2 out of 4 to finish the season off. That would be heartbreaking, man, because
Catastrophic.
you'd be like, man, as much as you believed in this team, they did the same thing that the old Bears teams did.
Michael, what's up, brother? Thanks for
They
being here, man.
they fumbled the ball, man, on the goal line. You know what I mean? So it's like, I that would break my heart, man, because I want to believe that Ben Johnson's that dude and Caleb's that dude, and that's gonna. It doesn't. I've said this before. When you get that coach that you've been waiting for and that quarterback that you believe in, and then
That shit clicks fast.
quickly, like that, by the end of this year, you should expect, if those two guys are the guys, you should expect these guys to start dominating people, man. And I do believe this offense is very capable of that at some juncture, for sure.
Shannon says, I think we got to start looking at Caleb if he can't put a complete game together. Shannon, we're going to talk about Caleb, I promise.
We're gonna have a huge Caleb discussion, guys. That's why we're getting the Browns thing out of the way.
Shytex says, I don't think Ben wants to lose that Lions game either. Lions again either. He's going to have something stirred up after what happened week 2.
You know what though, Shytex?
Real quick, just want to say peace out to Mikey. Just want to say peace out to Mikey. He's heading to bed. 31-10 Bears is his score. Thanks for checking in, Mikey. We appreciate you.
Damn. I like it, Mikey. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Lions, Brandon, we've been talking about this Bears-Lions game all year as if like this could be determining playoffs for one of these two teams. And it's looking more and more like that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Like that Bears-Lions game.
I do think, I think to Shytex,
the playoffs.
I think he wants the Packers game more. I do.
I don't give a shit. Get 11 wins. If you can find 12, then
I give a shit. If you can beat the Packers and Lions and lose to the Browns and Niners, listen, I'm A-okay with that too.
If you make short work of this and you beat the Browns this week and then you beat the Packers the following week, get 2 wins in a row at home, you're looking damn good with those 11 wins and only 2 more to play. You're looking damn good. So I agree with you. I was just making the point that it's
I said if you could beat the Packers and the Lions and lose to the Browns and the Niners, I'm fucking fine with that. If your 2 wins come out of your division, you go 3-3 in your division and get yourself in an even split. We said, Dustin, this team will probably have to go 3-3 in their division if they want to make the playoffs. And then I think you even said before the season started, if they go 3-3 in the division, they might give them the opportunity to win the division. And it very much will.
Considering how tight the division is, yeah.
If they beat the Packers and Lions, that would put them in a really good position in the North, specifically, man, not just the NFC. So
100%. I mean, but like we could be looking at that Bears-Lions game. Like the winner of that game goes in the playoffs, and the loser is out. How intense would that be with the game script that you already mentioned? It's Dan Campbell coming to Ben's new house after he left that team, and then you're playing for the playoffs with the playoffs on the line. The reality is going into this Browns game, there can't be a letdown because this game is a playoff game for the Bears. The playoff game started. They started against Philly.
Well, it's still okay.
These are all playoff games leading into. Hopefully,
and here's the thing that's important to say, man. Which we're talking about the Bearsy feeling. It's
welcome back, Steve. Thanks for being here, brother.
It's okay to lose the way you did against a team like the one you played last week. It is. You lost by in their house. You crawled back and you clawed. You fought. You never let the Packers get comfortable, which I appreciate. It makes you're respected. You know what I mean? The Packers are like, man, this team just won't give up. So. That loss is okay. You can live with that. It's respectable. You are a better football team than this Browns team.
And
you cannot let this break your season because this is a team you should come out against and beat and never feel like you're not really in control of it.
Shorty, what up, dude? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, this is a good defense, Dustin, but you've got to go out there and just, like the Packers things behind us. We're back on track, putting this thing back on the track. And we're going to start off by getting these guys the fuck out of our house. That's the way you got to start, man.
So you want to go dive into the Browns Bears before we do the Caleb talk?
Yeah. Because I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like I said, I've been guys feeling kind of crummy. And I dove a little bit into the Browns, like team statistics and where they stand in rankings and things.
I got some stuff to start us off with, and then
And
we'll
like
just
you
kind
said, man, I have not been able to watch too much of the Browns, and when they're on, I do because Miles Garrett is just a show in himself.
yeah, and honestly, I root for Shador Sanders, given everything
Well,
that happened.
he's that guy's lightning in a
He's
bottle,
fun to watch.
man.
He's
Yeah,
fun to
he's
watch when he's on top of his shit. Yeah, I mean, and he's only going to get better, I think.
he
But
does some Caleb-like stuff, man. He does. He makes those crazy throws when he's in the
very
bad
similar. And I've been trying
platforms.
to make that point to Bears fans that knock Shador. It's like, well, a lot of the things that you don't like about him are the things that Caleb does really well too. Like the things that Shador, he'll hold on to the ball. He's going to try to make a play outside of
Yeah,
of
but
structure.
and these are the things that got these guys
He's got a
drafted,
hell of a
man.
deep ball. Yeah, exactly.
This
Those
is what
traits.
got these guys to the big show. Like that's why Caleb's here.
All
Caleb's
right.
not here because he played phenomenally under center through his collegiate career, man. That's not the case. You know what I mean?
Well, he's playing pretty damn well under center this year. I'll say that. Brown's injury report, Brandon. This is something I want to start with because this is huge. You look at this for
Literally
them.
and figuratively.
Joel Bitonio, their starting guard, knee back, DNP 2 days in a row. Jack Conklin, their starting tackle, concussion, DNP 2 days in a row. Mason Graham, their starting defensive tackle, rookie, top 5 pick, DNP 2 days in a row. Aiden Huntington, that's weird. That reminds me of Aiden Hutchinson. That's just I don't know who that is, but he's in DNP 2 days in a row. David Njoku, DNP 2 days in a row with the knee. Dylan Sampson, DNP with the calf in the hand 2 days in a row. Wyatt Teller, their other guard, DNP 2 days in a row. Cedric Tillman, concussion and rib. There's a starting receiver when he's on the field, DNP 2 days in a row. Denzel Ward, DNP 2 days in a row. I think Denzel's going to do everything he can to go play. But when you look at this injury report, Brandon, where is their offensive line? Who are they? I mean, they're going to be starting Tevin Jenkins. Their center is not playing either. Pochich, I think he's on IR. He's not on this list because he's on fucking IR. He's like out. So that's a big deal. The guard, the two guards, the center, and the tackle, all injured, have not played.
Well, it's a really big deal on top of, I mean, if you're adding injury or insult to injury, this offensive line wasn't very good when they were healthy. They're just not very good. So losing pieces of a line that's just not very good doesn't make it any better. So yeah, I mean, this is a place the Bears need to exploit for sure.
Yeah, and Michael's pointing out that Malik Collins, he's not on that injury report either because he's on IR as well, I believe. First game without him, Tony Pollard ran roughshod on them for the Tennessee Titans. That's a big deal going against the
Pollard
best
had a
run offense in the NFL.
Exploded. He had like 2 touchdowns, 150 yards or something against that team, dude. The Browns, I thought, were a little more sound than that. They got beat up. But Miles Garrett is still a freak.
Yeah, listen, I'm right in the Chicago suburbs. So is Brandon Shytex. We're going to be dealing with this weather just like the Bears are. It's going to be freezing. I remember, and they were talking about it last night. The coldest game at the time, I don't know, I think it still is, like in terms of wind chill, was the Packers-Bears. It was a Monday night football game. Bears won in overtime on a Robbie Gould kick. I was at that game. Coldest game in Soldier Field history. It can get really cold there, and it's tough. It's tough to play in those conditions. Everything's gonna hurt.
It's discomfort.
When you're down those offensive linemen and you can't control the line of scrimmage, that's a big knock against your team. And the Browns are already the big underdogs coming into Soldier Field, missing a lot of key players. You got to take care of business if you're the Chicago Bears.
And unfortunately, this is these guys are playing outside in Cleveland. This is not a team that's immune to cold weather. These guys are pretty familiar with this, so I don't know if the Bears have any kind of advantage there. But
well, no, it's just gonna be shitty for everyone. But yeah, I think the Bears have the offensive line. Their offensive line healthy, fully intact, and one of the best offensive lines in football. They have the best running game in football. Yeah, I think their bye week. The advantages are all leading towards the Bears. I think the Bears'
offensive line, is where they win this game because this team got beat up last week. Dustin, like you said, this defensive front got pretty beat up. This Bears offensive line right now is playing the best football they have, and they're playing better every week. I thought in the second half of last week's game against the
They were
Packers
dominant.
was like maybe the
Dominant.
best they've ever looked all year. And
Yeah.
they got a rookie playing left tackle, man. I mean, like it's remarkable what you knew these things were going to progress, guys. You didn't know by the end of this season how good things were going to be. And this offensive line has exceeded any expectations anybody should have had of them. Because I was saying maybe, and you remember this, Dustin, I said on paper, I'm calling
I
them
got
an
a
8.
good graphic for what you're saying.
I'm calling them an 8 to 12. Yeah, remember before the season I told you I'm calling them 8 to 12 on paper? Remember that?
Yeah.
They're fifth, I think.
Yeah, they're top. Well, according to this graphic, just so you
They're
know,
like second. Yeah.
it's pass protection only. Now, win rate, according to ESPN, and grade for PFF combined. Look at where the Bears are. They're all the way up there, right next to KC, right behind Denver, right around Buffalo. They're a top 5 offensive line in the NFL, especially when it comes to pass protection. And then throw in the fact that they're the best running offense in the NFL right now. Like,
And look
this
at
offensive line
Cleveland out there.
phenomenal.
Cleveland's hanging out by itself.
Cleveland's all the way over there, and
they're
now
terrible, man.
Now take out Jack Conklin, take out Wyatt Teller, take
like
out Joe
I said,
Bitonio,
they
take
weren't
out
even good
Pochich.
with those guys.
Yeah,
I mean, look
exactly,
at that.
dude.
It's a bad product.
The Bears should dominate this game on the line of scrimmage. That's the thing. The Browns' defensive line is fucking awesome. It is. And the Bears' offensive line is awesome. So that could end up being a wash. We'll see how that goes. But the Packers' offensive line is shitty, and the Bears' defensive line is shitty. So is that a wash too? It's like,
I was just
something's got to give.
You need a big game from your defensive line in this one, man. Grady Jarrett and these Javon Dexter and Montez Sweat and Austin Booker, these guys need to step up, take advantage of a line that hasn't been good. That was pass protection you just showed. This line has been atrocious. Every quarterback that stood behind it is getting killed, and Dylan Gabriel was only like 5'1" to begin with. So, I mean,
now he's 4'8".
This, and he's even shorter than that when he's sitting on the bench. But these guys haven't been good. They haven't.
One more stat in regards to what we're talking about here with that offensive line for the Browns and the issues that they're having. And we were talking about Shedeur Sanders and some positives that he has. But one thing that I saw this on X, and it's from Bears Blog Boy, says Shedeur Sanders against the blitz. He's 9 for 23 for 165 yards. His adjusted completion percentage is 44.4. That's dead last against the blitz. His PFF passing grade 40.1, third to last. Turnover worthy play percentage 11.1%. His EPA per dropback is negative 0.25. That's 30th. Pressured on 84.6% of his dropbacks versus the blitz.
Yeah, I think
so. This offensive line is hurting.
I think it's obvious.
This Bears team has shown a propensity to blitz, and Shedeur Sanders has shown a propensity to suck really badly against the blitz. It's not going to go like it went last week against the Packers, where Jordan Love carved them up when they were blitzing.
That's what I mean. And the difference is the stage of their career. This is when a guy, like I said, Shedeur Sanders is not playing at the speed of the NFL. He's not processing the way a quarterback will be in 2 years from now. You know what I mean? He could be, he's going to be an entirely different guy 2 years from now. But this version of Shedeur Sanders that is still yet to get comfortable with the speed of this league is a guy you need to get after and get after a lot. And it's got to be something, man, what I watched against that Packers team, we cannot see again. We cannot see again. We need these guys to get pressure. Jordan Love had way too much time, and they've got to get home.
Well, Shy Tech says Sack City Sunday for our D line. I don't know about that. But as I just read off to you, Shedeur Sanders has shown that he will give it up against the blitz. So I think Dennis Allen's going to have a lot of that cooked up because I don't know about this D-line. You're playing one of the worst offensive lines in football this week, so you better have a good game, as Brandon's saying. But if you can't get there, the blitz can. The blitz can. And you don't need to worry about Shedeur Sanders beating you the way Jordan Love did against the blitz when he was carving you up. So, I mean, like, it's a big advantage for the Bears in that regard. Steve says Caleb was running for his life against us, and Parsons was getting choked. Good. Fuck Parsons. Choke him some more. Caleb was also making plays when he was running. The thing that we said going into that game, Steve, was that the Bears Ben will have a game plan for trying to limit Parsons. It's not going to work because he's just a man beater. He's going to beat people. But then Caleb Williams is really fucking good at avoiding sacks and avoiding pressure and still making plays. And guess what he did? Exactly that. And guess what he'll do against the Browns? Exactly that. The Packers got 1 sack, Steve. The Steelers got 1 sack. One of the best pressure teams, one of the best blitzing teams, one of the best getting after quarterback teams in the NFL. The Giants got no sacks. One of the best defensive lines in football with the sack leader on their one of the top sack getters on their team. Same thing with Parsons. I mean, TJ Watt got 1 sack. Parsons got none. You know what I'm saying? Like Caleb is really good at avoiding the pressure if it gets through. So you got to deal with the offensive line first and the game plan of Ben Johnson, the extra protection, and then you got to still get Caleb down, which nobody has shown the ability to do as of yet.
In regards to Caleb running for his life, that's called I mean, the word that's important. It's extending.
Yeah, Michael,
plays.
good point.
You're extending plays. So when Caleb's running for his life, it's not because he was pressured immediately. It's because he didn't like the things he saw downfield.
He was pressured a lot.
He's trying to create more time by running out of the pocket. And that's something Caleb's done his whole career. And I think the thing that Ben Johnson wants to see a little more of is Caleb not having to extend plays and reading the play the way it's drawn up and getting the ball out of his hands quickly. So I will say this, Caleb's responsible for most of the running that he does, but I don't think it's simply because his offensive line isn't protecting him. I think he chooses to do a lot of it himself.
There's that's a bit of a fallacy, Brandon. If you look at the numbers in terms of pressure percentage and things like that, we're going to get into those when we start talking about Caleb. Caleb is not, there's this false narrative out there, and this is more for the Caleb conversation, but since we're talking about it, I'll just say it. There's this false narrative out there that Caleb just has one read and then he takes off. He wants to get out of the pocket. He's afraid.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I know, but it can contribute to that kind of thought process. So I just want to make the point. The pressure is real when Caleb evades it and gets outside the pocket.
Yes,
Caleb is not like, just running out of the pocket unnecessarily.
And it's not like the pressure's constant. We're talking about one of the best offensive lines in football.
When it does get there, he is really good at identifying
extending a play,
extending the play, and avoiding the sacks.
He can he can throw the ball away the same as anybody else. He's choosing to extend the play.
Well,
his ability to run is the reason he's special, because he's got to use his legs to keep the play going.
Mm-hmm. Michael, and he's really good at throwing on the run too. Michael, as you saw with that OZ.
Oh, that's what I mean. Just to get out of the pocket and extend the play, he's got to use his legs.
Should be expected of a D coordinator with as much experience as Allen to have a rookie QB in hell given his blitz struggles. Not all about sacks, though, but also rushing his mental clock and throw him off. 100%, Michael. You got to get in his head. You got to speed up his timing. You got to make him get rid of that ball quickly, and he's going to make mistakes when he does that. And this Bears defense will get turnovers in this game. I firmly believe that. And I firmly believe Dennis Allen knows he has to blitz. And it's going to work a lot better this week than it did last week against the Packers because Jordan Love is just a fucking much better quarterback.
And the Bears got to play better at linebacker, man, because against a rookie quarterback, I think it's also important that you kind of illuminate the center of the field. Don't give him easy throws to Fannin. I don't know if Njoku's going to play. It doesn't look like it. Don't give him easy checkdowns. Don't give him throws to the big body guys like Fannin. Make him pass outside. Your corners have been taking the ball away all year. Do not give Shedeur Sanders the middle of the field like you have been all year, man. These guys, the Bears, have not been covering tight ends well. This is a quarterback that I would try to make a priority out of that. And I believe Fannin might be their best pass catcher this season, man.
Yeah, he is. He's got like 600 and some yards, a few touchdowns.
I don't know if that's saying a lot about them, but like he's been pretty.
There's not a lot to choose from there.
For a rookie, he's been pretty darn good.
I loved Fannin in his draft, and it was a good pick for him.
Yeah, you know who's a big fan? She's never up this late, but Erica, who watches this a lot.
I was a big fan of him.
She was banging the table for that guy. So
I remember Sean liked him as well. There was a good pick by the Browns, and that's showing.
He is an athletic dude for his size, man.
I'm going to get to this comment from Nick, and then I'm going to ask you a question, Brandon. Nick says DA needs to revamp his third down approach. He has become predictable. Offenses have seemed to figure it out. Good opportunity to drop some of those DBs on the line and get in a passing lane. I mean, for sure. I mean, I think you saw that in that Packers game in particular. Once they stopped blitzing, realizing they were getting destroyed, and they weren't getting home in the first place, and then they were just getting beaten man over the top. That they were able to start getting some stops. They got a few 3-and-outs in that second half, and those played a big part in the Bears getting back in that game. So I think Dennis Allen's really good at adjusting in the moment. I think he took too long to adjust in that game, but the Bears in reality have been one of the best third down teams in the NFL on defense. It's
And
turnovers and getting off the field on third down. Those are like the two biggest strengths of this Bears defense up to this point.
I do want to say this. We did talk a lot about that Packers game in all week, and we've said consistently Dennis Allen came out with a bad game plan with the blitz. We just didn't understand quickly enough how bad it was going. And then Ben, we talked about his inability to kind of draw up the run to make it effective.
It was effective.
The players came out a little flat in that game too, man. I thought the way they came out in the second half, the Packers came out with more aggression, more physicality than the Bears in the first half of that game. And I thought they responded really well in the second half and looked like that offense. In the first half, I'll say this: that offensive line was not the same offensive line in the first half. I mean, they were just
that was the biggest difference. The offensive line in the first half was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad, and I mean, you see PFF.
They weren't ready for it, man.
You see it going around. The PFF graded Ozzie Trapillo a 91 in pass protection. He had zero hurries. I saw multiple of them when I was watching the game. So like, I don't necessarily trust that. I don't know how that shit works, and I don't care. I trust my eyes. And Ozzie's gonna have some mistakes. And the offensive line was rough in the first half, just in general. Everybody was not playing as well as we know they're capable of. So yeah, I agree with that. But when I was rewatching that game, man, the running game was effective. It just, they weren't calling it enough. They weren't sticking with it. They put themselves in spots where, they went to the pass in situations where I thought that they should have just established their dominance with that offensive line and that running game.
Well, Caleb was under a lot of duress in that half, which made Caleb a very ineffective player in the first half. I mean, I think he was like 1 for 2 for 7 in the first quarter. So you just came out. You came out ill prepared. If you had come out the way you did in the second half for that entire football game, you probably would have beat the brakes off those guys, man.
Steve knows the policy. Asks, where do you guys want the Bears to finish? I want the Bears to finish on your tits, Steve, and in the playoffs. And in the playoffs.
What do you mean where we want the Bears to finish?
Yeah, I think he means playoff seeding. Like, where do we want them to finish? Like as high as possible.
if you're asking that in a broad sense, then like I think the answer is the same for every fan of any team.
Yeah, as high as possible
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the playoff seeding as high as possible. I want them to go as far as they possibly can.
Our team is
9. We're playing with house money.
I want them to win a Super Bowl. That's what I want.
He's saying seeding. Yeah, and
I want them to be the team that people never forget.
Steve, it was a joke. I don't want the Bears. I don't want the Bears to come on your tits. I was just making a joke because you're a Packers fan. It's funny. We appreciate you being here. I'm happy you're here. Sean says, "Ayo, Bears suck." I remember you from last week.
It would have been funny.
Thank you for coming back, though,
Mike. It would have been funny if you. What was the last guy's name?
Steve.
It would have been funny if you had said seeding. SEEDING.
Seating on your tits.
No, you're like, I think he was talking about seating or something, and then that would have been classic, man. That feels like a mistake.
No, it's all in good fun, man. We got y'all again in a week, Sean. We got y'all again in a week. We'll see how it goes. That game did not go the way y'all expected it. When y'all were up 14-3, I think you had visions of sugar plums dancing in your head, but it didn't turn out that way. I mean, the Bears really turned that thing around in the second half and figured out the game plan that they probably should have had for the whole game, and it was effective. And we'll see how it goes when they're in Soldier. The Packers are a good team, guys. I was never here saying the Bears are going to beat the shit out of the Packers. If I thought the Bears were going to win, I thought they were going to win in the style that they almost did, in a very close game where the last team with the ball last has that opportunity, and they would have went for 2, and you would have been shitting bricks when they were going for 2 if they would have got that touchdown. But the interception happened. It is what it is. Caleb made a bad throw. It was a damn good game.
Did Ben say that he would have gone for 2?
I just believe he would have. No, he has not. He hasn't said that, and I don't know. It doesn't behoove him to say that, but I believe he would have. I felt that way the whole time. The confidence was justified, Sean. As far as I'm concerned, the confidence was justified. The Bears showed they could play with that team. Yep, it still is. We got y'all at home. It's going to be fun. It's good that the rivalry is back, and it's good to have Packers fans in our chat, man. We appreciate
it. When that ball was in the air, Packers fans were sweating. Before you could see where the defender was in front of Komet, you were sweating. You were sweating a little bit, like, oh, okay.
That whole second half.
Caleb was playing good football. When that ball went in the air, you thought there was a chance it was a touchdown, just the same as an interception, just like the rest of us.
Listen, while I appreciate you being here, I don't want this to turn into another Bears-Packers week. We got that in a week, and we'll have fun. Keep coming back. Come back next week. Stay here now. Come back next week. We'll keep talking shit, man, and it'll be fun. We at the end of the day, we don't control the results on the field. It is what it is. These teams are going to play, but I think these teams are very evenly matched teams, and I'm looking forward to the rematch. I really am. But I was going to ask you, Brandon, in regards to this Browns team. We talked about this offensive line, the injuries that they have, the fact that they were already shitty before those injuries in terms of pass protection, in terms of the thing that's going to really matter in this game to keep Shedeur Sanders straight up and to keep him from turning over the ball. We talked about Shedeur Sanders' issues against the blitz and what the Bears can do to exploit that and what we think Dennis Allen can do. But who is the player on this Browns offense that you're concerned about that the Bears got to make a concerted effort to shut the fuck down before they get going? Because I think I know what your answer is, because I think it's the same as mine, but let's just get it out there.
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, I already stated, I think it's important to defend Fannin in this game, but the guy you really don't want getting off like you did, like you allowed against the Vegas Raiders, is the rookie running back that's on that team that has the potential to take the ball anywhere he wants, any play he carries it. The Ashton Genty
Yes, Steve.
looked like Ashton Genty to me when he played the Bears. He looked
Yeah.
like the real deal. I was like, man, this guy plays like this for the remainder of the season. He is a generational fucking talent because he exploded on the Bears. He had 3 touchdowns, Dustin. But Judkins has played about as admirably as you can play behind a line that's really, and that you show the pass protection. The Browns are in the same place
with the run game, with the run
yeah,
blocking.
their offensive line is terrible. Judkins is pretty much met at the line or behind it every time he carries the ball. He gets 91% of his yards after contact. This guy, anything that he's gotten this year, he's fucking earned. Those guys scare me, man, because the Bears just a week ago, and I know it was more in the past, do give up big plays, man. And Ashton Genty broke a couple against this football. And actually, in the passing game, Genty excelled too.
He caught a big touchdown.
I don't want to see Judkins getting passes in the backfield. That scares the hell out of me too, man. So I would say Judkins because he's put this Browns team on his back before, and he had 3 touchdowns in a single game.
Steve agrees with you. He said Judkins. John says Judkins. Shytek said Garrett. We are not talking about their defense yet. We're talking about their offensive player that we're concerned about.
Yeah, we're all going to say the same.
Yeah, Garrett is obviously the answer in terms of that.
But I do want to talk about
are they going to put?
Because there's some important things to say about Lions.
Let me
for sure.
Let me add something on top of this Judkins thing. The Bears just had their worst game of the season in terms of tackling. Against the Packers. They had multiple times where they had guys stopped. They had the third down play would have been
right.
And and they had the play pegged, and they just fucking whiffed on tackles, multiple of them. They missed so many tackles in that game. And what scares me the most is Judkins is a big, mean motherfucker, and he's got more speed than you want to give him credit for if you're watching this game. But if you can't tackle him and you don't wrap up, you can't be trying to arm tackle him. You need to get proper tackling position. You need to gang tackle. You need to get everyone to the ball, and you need to put this motherfucker on the ground as quickly as possible. Because if you're trying to arm tackle like you were doing against Josh Jacobs, or you're just throwing yourself at his legs, he's going to jump over you, and this is going to be a long day. And Quinshon Judkins will run up and down the fucking field on you because he is that talented. That scares me. The Bears need to really. Hopefully, they've already been doing it this week in those defensive meetings and in the defensive practices. Tackling. Put this motherfucker on the ground, and everybody rally to the ball. That's my main
point, man.
Yes,
Judkins can beat you in a lot of ways, and he's gotten some big receptions in this season too, man. So that's a guy who and then we do this every week, Dustin. And Dennis Allen though usually does a pretty good job of it. You want to key in on these running backs.
Dennis Allen has done a good job in general of keying in on any offense's number one threat. He did a shitty job of it last week. He left Christian Watson, who was the guy that I said in our bare minimum, I got visions of this guy catching a crossing route and taking it to the house. I said these exact words. I got a vision. Christian Watson is a Bears killer, and I just had those visions running through my head. And Dennis Allen kind of missed the boat on that one because he left Christian Watson one-on-one with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Kevin Byard when he shouldn't have. And like so, but in general, throughout the season, he's done a pretty good job of identifying those guys and shutting them down or limiting what they do. And AJ Brown got off on the Bears too in that Eagles game. He did. But I mean, yeah, like Judkins is the one guy, like, going into this draft, man, he was my number one running back. I thought he would be the best running back out of this draft. I thought he was a better pass catcher than people give him credit for. I thought he was a better pass blocker, and he's a damn hard runner. And if you don't stop him, this game will be a lot closer than you want it to be. That's my main focus. You stop the run, you make Shedeur drop back to beat you in that polar vortex weather, and you blitz him. You fucking blitz him, and you let him make mistakes.
Yeah, and you absolutely can't let Shedeur off the hook. Most importantly, Dustin. That's why Shedeur
make him beat you.
That's why Judkins scares you the most, because if he gets off, it gives Shedeur,
you're limiting Shedeur's impact.
It gives Shedeur a chance to be special, because Shedeur's only got to make the throws when he needs to. You know what I mean?
Yep. And those play action ones hit him deep.
And I don't know if you guys have been watching Shedeur. For all the people that hated him or the ones who didn't and liked him, when he has to throw some passes, he's been throwing them.
He can make a throw.
Kind of on the money, man. The couple touchdowns last week were both very impressive pro football throws, without a doubt.
Steve makes the point that we were making here. Judkins can take a lot of pressure off the offense and Shedeur. Like, yes, that's got to be your main focus.
Yeah, don't let Shedeur off the hook. The guy is going to make mistakes if you make it hard on him, for sure.
Shannon asked if
he'll make throws.
Let's go to the Bears injury report. Shannon asked if Rome is playing. Steve is asking if Rome is healthy. Now, healthy is subjective, I guess. I mean, he's been limited 2 days in a row. When Rome has been limited throughout the week, if he gets into any activity, he plays. That's what I know based on how I've watched these injury reports unfold over this season. I am betting on Rome playing. If he gets another limited in tomorrow or today at this point, you're going to see Rome playing on Sunday. And I don't know how much the passing game is going to be leaned on in this game. I really think the Bears need to lean on the running game, to be quite honest. But Rome looks to be in line to play. Travis Homer was a DNP 2 days in a row. Okay. Kyler Gordon's DNP 2 days in a row. And I think we're going to end up seeing Kyler Gordon on the injured reserve. Again, I think we're seeing Kyler Gordon go back to the IR. I don't think we're going to see him again this year. I've been saying that since we heard that the injury happened. I hope I'm wrong, but it's not good when you got the soft tissue injury, but it's a different part of the body now. This is a problem. So we're not going to see Kyler Gordon. Tyreek limited 2 days in a row. Getting Tyreek back will be huge, Brandon. Huge.
Yep, that was the first name I looked at past Rome, because that's huge. That's a guy you were desperately hurting for a week ago. And the Tyreek Stevenson's impact showed drastically in our last football game, man, without a doubt. I mean, that was the most I've ever missed Tyreek Stevenson, without a doubt, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, Tyreek went out in that Vikings game where the Vikings got back in it, and that's when McCarthy was actually starting to get off with the passing game. Tyreek makes an impact on this defense for sure. Tyreek's a good player, and it'll be huge to have him back with Jalen Johnson, with Nashawn Wright. I mean, we keep saying this, we keep going through this thing, and then like we went through this all last week. It was a huge part of why I had so much confidence that Sean pointed out last week. Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson back healthy. Their snaps are going to go up. And then what a fucking huge letdown it was when you hear that Kyler Gordon got hurt in warmups and he wasn't going to be playing, an hour before the fucking game. That was a huge letdown. We need Tyreek back.
And I think it was a big letdown for the morale of that team. Like you said, they came out kind of flat in the first half.
For the defensive game plan. And for the defensive game plan. Yeah, and now CJ Gardner-Johnson is playing the snaps that Kyler was supposed to be playing.
Maybe that had Dennis Allen more rattled than we think it might have. You know what I mean?
I mean, you can't. I said it on Monday. You can't overstate what a big deal that is. That had you known he was injured and you went through your whole week of prep knowing he was injured, it's a completely different story than if you expect him to play all week and then in warmups he gets hurt and then he's not playing. You don't have the guy to fill in, the body to fill in, and you just don't have that player who you game planned with all week, man. Like that put the Bears at a huge disadvantage that I don't think is getting enough credit in terms of how that game went defensively for them. Now, having rewatched the game again, man, CJ Gardner-Johnson, we were down on him, but like he made some plays. That first drive, he had 4 tackles and an interception. Like CJ Gardner-Johnson made some plays. but he had some bad ones too. A lot of missed tackles.
You just roles you got to make sure you don't put them in. I mean, CJ Gardner-Johnson is not. I don't know. I don't like him covering a 6'5", 215-pound receiver that runs a 4.3. Man,
Nope. I don't like him covering anyone that runs a 4.3 man to man. I don't like that at all. I don't care how big they are. So, yeah, I mean, I thought that Dennis Allen kind of put some guys in some bad spots. I thought Ben Johnson put some guys in some bad spots. There were a few blocks in that game that Ben Johnson asked Ozzie Trapillo to make that just didn't make much sense to me. Specifically, the one on that 3rd and 1 where Kyle Monunga got stuffed. Like for Ozzie to step in when that guy's already on his inside shoulder and seal that block. That's a tough ask for any tackle, and Ozzie just don't have the get off to get that seal. So I mean, like, I think the Bears this week, Brandon, have to do a better job of putting their players in positions to succeed. I thought the coaching staff in some ways let them down, and I think this coaching staff is honest with themselves and they're honest with each other, and that's probably the theme for them. Let's just put our guys in position to succeed, to do what they do best. That right? Like let's do that. Browns offensively, anything else you're worried about? Fannin, Judkins, that's it. I mean, Shador could make that throw that kind of hurts you.
Well, Judy's made a couple of really big plays this year. So after what we watched against Green Bay, that was going to start. I mean, this Bears team allows big plays, man. That's what always worries me outside of whatever running back about the opposing running back we're about to play, is they just allow big plays, and Jerry Judy's a guy that can get over the top of you. So I don't want Jaquan Brisker playing one-on-one with Judy downfield.
I think you gotta rely heavily on the zone, even when you're blitzing. But I think you're going to be looking a lot at what was successful for the Bears in that Packers game became, having the two safeties over the top and then that match coverage on the front with the cornerbacks. And I mean. But the thing is, Shador is just not going to beat you in the same way Jordan Love could. So you're going to see Dennis Allen be able to be a little more liberal with his blitz in this game and more successful. Yeah, no doubt. So put your guys in position to succeed. Like you said, Jaquan Brisker should not be covering one of the fastest guys on the field one-on-one. Like that should never happen. And Jalen Johnson missed his assignment on that one. Yeah, we were just talking about Kyler, man. We were just talking about Kyler Shine.
Really just said that same thing, actually. Yeah, man. I mean, Shador Sanders is an exciting player, but it's also a guy I think you could definitely take advantage of. And
I think the Bears will.
I don't see how the Bears don't get. We're talking about the defense specifically here now. I don't see how the Bears don't get a couple of takeaways in this football game at the rate they've done it.
Shador Sanders is going to throw 2 interceptions in this game.
They took one from Jalen Hurts. They took one from Jordan Love. I don't see Shador Sanders getting out of Chicago without throwing the ball away a few times.
Jordan Love kind of gave him one. I mean, and there were people in the chat on Monday saying Jordan Love was pressured. Jordan Love was not pressured on that.
No, that was one of the worst passes.
Just a bad pass. And he made a lot of good ones in that game, and he made a lot of good ones the week before. So
yeah, he's been playing good football. But that pass specifically, when they showed the behind view, I was like, what the hell is he looking at?
He was trying to hit Golden, but he has like one of those every once in a while where you're like, what the fuck did he see? But like, you live with that if you're the Packers. I mean, I would. But I think Shador is going to throw at least 2 interceptions in this game, Brandon. I think that's going to be a big part of how the Bears get the win. You shut down Judkins, you make Shador throw, you blitz him, you force him to increase his timing, like Michael said, and get in his head, fuck with his mental clock, and you are going to have him turn the ball over. It's going to happen.
And hopefully you score on defense, man. Put this team in a bad field position. Tory Taylor's been putting the ball pretty well. Put these guys back him up and make sure see to it that Shador makes those mistakes in their own. Again, when the Bears are in the opposing territory, that's how you would really close this game out.
Yeah, and when you get
but the problem is, man, the defense is kind of doing that, giving the Bears the ball.
I was about to say this. Yeah. When you get the turnover, the offense has to capitalize. They have to score. It was a huge letdown when CJ Gardner-Johnson got that interception, got it to their 35, and then you end up just losing 5 yards and having the fucking punt. You got to get points there. You cannot get these turnovers and not get points from them. And that's kind of been a running theme for this team throughout this year, Brandon. Capitalize on the turnovers, score the fucking points when they happen.
On defense, I think would be very
Yeah,
fair.
Dwayne. Yeah.
I think on defense, it's fair to say the Bears have depended on takeaways, and on offense, I think it's fair to say the Bears have depended on scoring when the defense takes the ball away. I think that's been part of the recipe for this team winning football. We always talk about when we're talking about the takeaways, Dustin, we're always so honed in on the defense, like, oh, the defense survives on these takeaways. That's giving the Bears extra possessions, and it's giving the Bears good field position. The Bears offense has become just as dependent on those takeaways as the Bears defense, but the Bears offense has got to start getting in the end zone. The Bears make so many trips to the red zone, man. I feel like they could be one of the better, a top 3 offense in the NFL if they were just getting capitalizing in the red zone more often.
Well, they're right now they're at a 57.78% red zone scoring touchdown percentage. That's 19th in the league. I think what it really comes down
Yeah,
to
I think
with
they
this,
could be just a little better. You know what I mean?
no, for sure. I mean, that's not great. It's not bad. It's right in the middle. You want to increase that. I agree with you, Brendan. What it comes down to with this Browns offense versus this Bears defense is that the Browns offense is really bad, but the Bears defense has been really bad too. And the Bears defense just needs to take advantage of the fact that you got a rookie quarterback back there and kind of buck the trends a little bit, because they're giving up 26 points a game. That's 25th in the league. They're giving up 357 yards a game. That's 27th in the league. They're giving up 6.1 yards per play. That's 30th in the league. They're giving up 3.2 touchdowns a game. That's 28th in the league. This defense has been really bad, Brandon. And you got an opportunity against a shitty offense. Yeah. And you got an opportunity against a shitty offense to really kind of get right in that regard this week. So like just take advantage of that, because the reality is, Brandon, I think a lot of offenses can get off against this defense if they don't get turnovers. I think the X factor is that Shedeur Sanders is going to turn the ball over. I feel like the Bears can force that.
It's worth mentioning, man, that this Bears team hasn't been great against rookie quarterbacks this year. They've played 3 of them. One of them they took out of a football game in Jackson Dart, and they've played McCarthy twice, and he almost brought his team back twice to beat.
You're counting McCarthy as a rookie?
Yeah, I do this season. Yeah. I've called him that all year. But
Jackson Dart was carving him up.
Yeah,
Jackson Dart was carving him up.
The Bears have not.
Jackson Dart's a lot better than Shedeur Sanders, though, man.
The Bears have always just more ready for the NFL, but I don't know that he's a better player. Yeah, like I don't like Shedeur's ceiling. I think could be a little more special than Dart's, but
I can agree with you there.
But I think the Bears haven't shown me like, oh, this is a rookie. We're going to swallow him up.
It's hard to bank on that. Yeah. You go through those stats that I was just reading, Brandon. It's hard to bank that the Bears defense is just going to have a get-right game and they're going to take advantage of a shitty offense. This Cleveland Browns offense is scoring 17 points a game. 17 points a game. That's just not enough to beat the Chicago Bears, given how they score every week. So
you're better than this football team.
Yes, but like as you just said, this defense has been nowhere near good enough for us to just bank on it and say they're going to shut the Cleveland Browns down. I'm kind of more thinking the Browns are going to shut themselves down, more than anything. Like that Browns offense with that offensive line in disarray and completely bandaged up, and Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback that can't
just won AFC Rookie of the Week, by the
way. Yeah. I mean, again, I like Shedeur, man. You know that, but like it is what it is. Like the Bears should be able to take advantage of him, and I expect them to make some mistakes, especially in that weather. So I just think that those things kind of lend themselves to this defense, having some opportunities. That's really what it comes down to for me.
Yeah,
I am not banking on this defense to be a dominant defense this Sunday. I'm really not.
I have full faith they'll take the ball away a few times. I think that for sure. But I don't think when they don't take the ball away, that's when they just get scored on, man. That's what they do.
I agree, T. We should be able to beat the Browns. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for being here.
The Bears are they're a better football team. They're a better coached team. They have a better quarterback. They have a better
offensive line.
We just went over
that.
A better
running game.
They're basically on opposite ends of the spectrum with their offensive line comparisons. And but really, you're comparing maybe the best to definitely the worst. So, I mean, the Bears are a better football team than this team top to bottom. They really are. This team has a better defensive front, but I think the Bears are also
better front seven.
I think the Bears are also stronger on the back end in the defensive side of football. But Carson Schlesinger and Myles Garrett are a problem. These two guys are both animals.
They got good players on defense. Denzel Ward, if he plays,
Mason Graham's been a pretty
Mason
effective.
Graham DMP 2 days in a row. The injury report is just really shaping up to really go into the Bears' favor. We're going to see how these Browns come out tomorrow at practice, but it's not looking good for them at all. If you're missing half your offensive line and your best defensive tackle and Mason Graham and Denzel Ward, your best cornerback, that's a big fucking problem. Let's flip the script a little bit to our offense and their defense, Brandon. I mean, I think our offense can run the ball on them, but let's kind of break it down a little bit because Chicago is averaging 4.9 yards per rush. The Browns are giving up 3.8 yards per rush. Chicago is averaging 152.6 rushing yards per game. That's second in the league. The Browns are giving up 107.7. That's 13th in the league. And as we saw last week, Tony Pollard ran roughshod on him, like Michael pointed out earlier. Like, can the Bears exploit this Browns run defense? Because I think that's the key to the game, man. I don't want to have to see Caleb in this weather do too much, to be honest. I want to dominate the game at the line of scrimmage and pound the ball down their fucking throats. Do you think the Bears can do it?
Yeah. Like I said, especially after the second half of that game against the Packers.
Good point, John.
I just don't see this Bears offensive line regressing. And the way that I've seen them play, I don't know there's a defensive front that can beat them. I thought if there was, that Eagles team would maybe be it because, they're so strong on the interior of their defensive line. But the Bears are just getting pushed against everybody, man. And I don't mean that these guys have been the best team in the league against, the Micah Parsons and of the world. I mean, these guys, when they want to run the ball, have just been getting push on whoever it is they line up across from. This Bears team right now, to me, is a team that's not going to be able. They're going to be able to do that against whoever they want. That's the way they're playing right now.
Yep, and then you throw in the fact that DeAndre Swift's running the ball really well, and Monangai, and they're seeing these they're getting the blocks, the zone blocking, and they're finding the backside, and they're being really patient.
They had the Packers gassed, man.
100%. Yep, and they're doing that to every team every week, and I've sent it to you guys. It was Brian Baldinger on X throwing out some Kyle Monangai stuff, and he was asking the question honestly. Is Kyle Monangai the hardest player in the NFL to tackle right now? And that's a legitimate question. That's how good Kyle Monangai has been in terms of his center of gravity, his balance, his contact balance, how low he can get, how he can get lower than basically anybody else that's trying to tackle him. And when you throw that in the mix with DeAndre Swift's speed and his ability to hit that hole fast, like this run game should really be able to control this game. From my perspective, I would love to see a good heavy mix of Kyle Monangai in a very cold weather game, Brandon. I want to see a split that favors Monangai in this game.
Well,
I
don't think anybody's going to want to meet Monangai at the line of scrimmage anymore.
No.
That was one of the most violent hits I have ever watched.
We got the real Shy. I've never seen you before in here, my man. I appreciate you being here. Let me show you that I do.
Thanks for joining us, brother.
He's got the Yoshi as his
Yoshi
avatar. Yeah. Love me some Yoshi.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that the Bears, like we kind of went over that, man. The 11 wins, the 2 wins thing. I didn't know that the Lions are eliminated after 2 losses, but 2 wins for the Bears, I think, definitely does enough. It's hard for me to believe that all the other teams in this race just keep winning.
Get to 12 wins. Like, yeah. Like, I don't, because they're all playing tough games, as we talked about. John says, I want to see some real smash mouth football. I'm with you, John. That's what I want to see. Just get in there, do what you need to do the dirty work, get out with the win, then go to Packer week, and you get to stay at home. This lines up really well. The thing that stood out to me in that Packers game, and I brought it up on last night's show because they were talking about the game plan of Ben Johnson. It really felt to me like Ben Johnson's ego played a bigger part in that game plan than it should have. Like it was so simple in front of you in terms of what you needed to do to win that game. And I think Ben Johnson, given the comment that he made earlier in the week about the passing game, we're focusing on it. We're going to get it fixed. And then like going up against Matt LaFleur, kind of wanting to get in his bag and show him it felt like he was trying to prove a point. And I get it and I understand it, but like there's a time and a place for that. And that's after you got control of the game. I think they never really got control of that game. And I think you just don't make that same mistake this week, especially given the weather concerns and the weather factor. Just come out there, play smash mouth football, dominate the line of scrimmage. Let's not get cute about this. This is playoff football. We're coming down the stretch. You're in Chicago. Just kick their ass, get out of there with the win.
Yeah, and
do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think
get out on top of them early, man? What?
Yeah. Do you think that I'm off base on that? Like, it just we all have so many questions about that game plan, how the Bears started that offensively, and how shitty it went for them, really. And I just felt like Ben Johnson ignored what was in front of him in terms of what would have been successful, and kind of wanted to prove a point. Do you see any, or am I just way off base?
I think this LaFleur Ben Johnson thing is very personal, man.
That's what I'm. Yes, 100%.
Off.
Yeah, I'm not brushing you off, Brandon. I'm with you 100%.
These two guys, I don't even know if they like each other. They definitely want to beat each other, but I'm getting a vibe that they don't even.
Yeah, real shy. I agree.
They don't really. They have nothing to say to each other. That's for damn sure. So this is personal, man. And yeah, I think Ben. I believe. I may have even asked on the show leading up to that week, man. Is Ben gonna like? I don't. Is Ben gonna try to intentionally outcoach Matt LaFleur? And I don't.
It felt like that's what happened, Brandon, and it didn't work out well for him.
No, and it got off base, and it was like, man, this is not what the Bears were beating teams with. You know what I mean? This is not what we were doing, and it sucked. And obviously this Browns team, you're gonna have Ben Johnson's gonna have a different approach, I hope, after what happened last week. But I think you just get back to the way you played against the Eagles, man.
Yep. And then let Caleb make the passes when he needs to.
Make that your identity. Make that your thing. Moving forward.
Just lean on it, and do it until they stop you and they make you do something else.
And I will say this, man.
I thought they should have went into that Packers game.
It is worth mentioning. The Bears have lost one football game at home, and it was the very first game of the season where it was all very, very new, very new. And I think they've become
really good at home.
A really scary football team at home, which is when you have a good head coach, you typically are. So
good point, Brennan. Good point.
I think it's important that you finish, guys, this season. 3 of the 4 games you play are at home. That's a big deal.
Yep, it is. And shifting to the passing game a little bit for the Bears. I made this point earlier in the week in our text thread, and I just want to make it again. And I made it a little earlier in the show, and how good Caleb is at being that magician in the pocket, avoiding the pressure, avoiding the sacks, and still finding a way to make a play. I think that's going to be huge in this game on Sunday, because obviously Myles Garrett is the sack leader, and he's about to break the record for sacks in a single season. The point that I made, though, and I want to hear what you think about it, Brandon. I think Caleb might be, if you're talking about like this player has this thing and they're just fucking great at it. Like Caleb is the best in the league at avoiding pressure and making a play, making guys look silly trying to sack him. He's the best at that in the league. And I think he's better at that thing than anyone else in the league is better at their thing. I think Caleb is on such a high level with that, Brandon. Like it becomes this huge X factor. And I also said that if there's a guy that's even close to him in terms of that one thing that they do really well, it's Myles Garrett at getting at the quarterback and bringing them down, sacking the quarterback. You had on strength here with Caleb's ability to avoid that pressure in those sacks and Garrett's ability to get it and get those sacks. And I'm really curious to see what gives in that matchup.
I'm curious about because they updated throughout the season as the season goes. I want to know what Caleb Williams' elusiveness rating is on Madden. It's gotta be like a fucking 98 at this juncture, man. But like
my Caleb, the one I use is way up there. Yeah, I don't remember what he starts out at.
But Myles Garrett is different. I do see Myles Garrett having a much bigger impact than a Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is so aggressive at getting around the edge and coming behind the quarterback. And Myles Garrett is right in front of you, and you still can't do much about it, man. So he's
Well,
a
Parsons
true.
is faster than Garrett, and Parsons made an impact in terms of being on Caleb's ass when Caleb
They get
rolled
pressure,
outside the
but I
pocket.
think,
He had 7 pressures in
but
that game, man.
but he's quick, and that's what he uses. So here's the thing: I think a guy who's fast, a guy with speed, actually probably takes longer to get to the quarterback because
Versus the bull rush,
he's trying to get around you, and he's trying to use his speed to beat you around the edge,
the bend.
to beat you. Yeah, and then a lot of the good ones, man, have a really good ability to lean into your weight in order to get around you. But a bull rush, a Myles Garrett bull rush, I mean, if he just gets up underneath you, basically picks. What are you doing, dude?
I'm waving to Alan Pena. This is what I do every time he checks in. Alan knows it.
If you
don't have the connection with the chat that I have, Brandon.
If you just get a bull rush from Myles Garrett, he's gonna get home quick. That's what he's done all year. So I think Myles Garrett gets maybe more than a sack in this game. I don't. I hate even saying that because this offensive
when
line
you
has
say
been
that,
tremendous. This offensive line has been tremendous, but I could see him getting. Listen, man, Myles Garrett has 20 sacks, right, or 21 something. The record is 22 and a half, I think. I thought to myself when I said he's going to average at least 1.5 per game for the remainder of this season. For all 4 games he's got left, he's going to average a sack and a half per game. So for me now to bank on Myles Garrett not coming away from this game with a sack at all, I mean, I think I'm being a little biased there. I do think the Bears' offensive line is better than the Browns' defensive line, top to bottom. But Myles Garrett across from Ozzie Trapillo, Dustin, at some point, that dam will break.
Listen, man, Kyle said the same thing last night, that he expects him to get multiple sacks. And if that happens,
a sack and a half.
If that happens, that could really swing this game in a very bad way. Because as Shytek says here, just as long as it isn't a strip sack. Like if it's a turnover, if it's like that TJ Watt one where Caleb just gives the ball away in the end zone or something like that, that changes the game in a very major way. And in my mind, when a guy's getting multiple sacks in a game, that's not even considering how much pressure he had to get in order to get those 2 sacks. Like he's going to have 10 pressures to get those 2 sacks, Brandon, considering how Caleb plays and how this offensive line is playing. So it's like that could wreck this game in my mind. But then Kyle and Sean pointed out fairly that he had multiple games with 4 and 5 sacks, and they lost those games. So like it can change the game, but the Browns can still lose because their offense is just so abysmal.
It doesn't work like that in football, man. I mean, and I'm not telling you this, but this. Myles Garrett can be the best player in the league. That he can be the best that ever did it. Football is a sport, man, where more than one person's got to do their job effectively, man. And Myles Garrett could get 2.5, 3 sacks in this football game. I would still bet you, just if you were to ask me, if Myles Garrett gets 3 sacks to the Bears win, I'd say yes. I just don't think
as that number goes up
for the rest of the woes.
As that number goes up, I just get more and more concerned. People keep saying it. So, and Real Shy points out what I was just saying. Caleb doesn't allow sacks. He's either escaping or throwing it away. It's rare he allows sacks. I pointed out that he did not take sacks against some really good teams. He took 1 against the Packers, 1 against the Steelers, 0 against the Giants. These are good teams at getting after the quarterback, and he made them look silly. He made the Giants look silly trying to sack him. And yes, and as I also just said, I think he's the best at that in the league. He's better at that than any other player is at like whatever one skill that they have that you want to bank on. Caleb's ability in those moments is one of the most impressive things in football.
And he keeps
I agree with
you. Honest, man, because when you rush him and he gets out and now that's behind him, he's really effective at making decisions, man. One thing that Caleb's been doing that's bothering me, man, is sometimes it looks like the run is there and he doesn't do it.
He's holding for that explosive. He's holding for that play downfield. And it's like, and honestly, if he would have just decided
when he was drafted, I don't like running. I don't want to run.
But they ran that same play that they ended the game with the interception against the Packers. They ran it earlier in the game in the second quarter to the opposite side of the field on 4th and 1. Caleb just took straight off. Swift was right there in the flat. DJ trailing right behind him. Cole Kmet out there. Caleb ran for the first down. Now, I think if he had done that and just set his mind to running on that last play of the game, he would have gotten the first down. By the time he slowed up and they got in front of him, but he had the line for the first down if he had just run it.
There was a play early in that game, though, man, where he had 5 or 6 yards to run, and he only needed like a few, like 3 for the first down, and he threw the ball away. He like kind of chucked it at a receiver's feet, but he was like 3 yards away from a first down, and he probably would have ran for like 6 or 7, maybe. I don't know, but you don't remember this? Like the entire bar that I was in, like these people all just kind of gasped.
Yeah, I
like,
remember. I felt the same way. Like, why would you not have run for that? Yeah. He's done a really good job with his legs this year, and he's been smart with when he does it and how he does it. So I don't have that. I get what you're saying, but like I trust his decision making in those moments. But yeah, I think there's some times where it's okay to just decide you're going to run and just go do it and get the first, move on to the next set of downs. You know what I'm saying? Versus throwing the ball away or throwing an interception, which he did on that last play against the Packers.
Yeah, and as long as to tell this guy to slide on his knee, man, not on his ass.
I mean,
he got like bent in half on that play. I was terrified that he was not going to stand back up.
I didn't feel that way, but I get what you're saying.
Caleb takes a lot of brutal hits, man. You notice, like he does. He takes it's not like, oh, I'm a Bears fan. My quarterback gets hit more than others. He takes some licks.
I think he does a pretty good job, honestly,
when he slowed down the type of hits that when he kind of let Jalen Ramsey give him I was like, that guy's gonna come hit you as hard as he possibly can.
Yeah, but Caleb ain't gonna do that ever again.
No, he's not. That was a bad hit.
Yeah.
Listen, man,
offensively, we've had a couple people throw in the chat like the quick passes and the drawing defenders in, get the screen game going. I thought that would work against the Packers, and it did not. The Packers were all over it, right? The Packers didn't go for the misdirection. They didn't go for the screen game. They just shut it down all game. But I think if you're talking about those things and if you have an opportunity to get them, Luther Burden is the guy you're going to want to get him with. I think Luther Burden has been the best receiver on this Bears team for a couple of weeks now. Obviously, Rome being out helped with that, Brandon. But when you look at this here, these are rookie wide receivers, yards and targets per route run, right? So targets per route run is on the left. And Luther's right around the 22% mark. And then let me get this comment out the way so I can read this part. Yards per route run is down there on the bottom. Luther's all the way to the right, the farthest one at about 2.5, 2.7, somewhere in there. He's right up there with Emeka Egbuka and Tetaroa McMillan. This guy has been really fucking good at getting separation, Brandon. When you talk about guys who are getting separation, he's one of the best in the league. And I just think he's got to be a big part of this game plan when you're talking about those quick passes. Just this from Fantasy Points data. One more thing on Luther Burden. Percent of targets receivers had at least a step of separation. Luther Burden is at an 85% of his targets with a step of separation. He's above Zay Flowers, Trey Tucker, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jamison Williams. That's your top 5. Luther Burden has been really fucking good. And I think he only gets better as the season goes on. And I think even if Rome comes back, which I expect he will, Brandon, he's a big part of this passing game on Sunday, whatever's passing they do, because I don't expect a lot, but I think Luther makes a few big plays because of the fact that he always gets open. He's a great route runner, and he's always getting separation. This mostly I just wanted to give him his flowers, but I think when you're talking about the quick passing game, Luther Burden's going to be a big part of that.
Well, and the Browns have allowed 17 passing touchdowns, man. So I think Colston Loveland gets one. I'm gonna just bank on Colston Loveland getting a touchdown for the remainder of the season before every game that we do this show. Oh, is that your shirt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do think so. Like the guy, he's becoming the red zone threat, Dustin, that you expect him to be. It's
what I said when they drafted him. He was going to be the best red zone target on this team.
Before that game on Sunday, I don't know if you remember, I did say on that show that Colston Loveland's going to catch a touchdown today, and I really think that he can end up. It's pretty obvious. It should be that he has the skill set to be the most effective red zone target on this football team. Ben Johnson will be aware of that just the same as all of us. You want
As
this
we were
guy to get
talking
some
about,
touchdowns.
yeah, man, and as we were talking about with Pitts earlier when we started the show with that Falcons Bucks game, like you draft a tight end in the top 10 because of their ability to get in the end zone. And Pitts hasn't really shown that, but Loveland has 4 touchdowns already in his rookie season, and I think it's only going to get better as it goes on. So you're talking
Yeah,
about Luther,
they're all in the latter of the seasons.
and Luther Burden's only got 1 touchdown on the season. You hope there's some more coming for him, but honestly, I just love the way he plays the game. I love the routes he runs. I think between him and Loveland, your passing game that's the key to your passing game taking off. With Caleb Williams, I think those two are going to be your best two targets, man. And that's a crazy thing to say when you got Roma Dunze out there and DJ Moore, as Vizzo Joe brings up here, and Cole Kmet. But I mean, yeah, Colston Loveland's been fucking great. I think he only gets better. And yeah, when he was drafted, I thought he would be the Bears' best red zone target. That's taken some time to come to fruition. But as you said, it seems like it's just going to be a place Caleb looks in the red zone.
Well, when you say it's taken some time. If he has established himself as the best red zone target by the end of his rookie year,
it's pretty quick. Yeah.
Tight ends don't really evolve at that pace. So, I mean, I would expect if that's the case, next season, this guy is going to be just a problem.
So let me say this though, because I threw out the graphic. I thought it was a really cool graphic, and then I had the stat: 85% yard, at least a yard of separation, and like nothing. Brandon, okay. Were you surprised by those at all?
This is a game where you're going to be seeing Caleb throw outside a lot. So
I don't know that Luther Burden's going to be outside a lot, especially if Roma's back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Burden we know Burden's going to be a special player, man. Both these guys are. It's turning out to be. We're all. I mean,
I'll never be.
We all got an egg on our. I'll say this: anybody who said anything about this Bears draft has an egg on their face right now. Kyle Monunga has been nothing short of spectacular for where you drafted him. Colston Loveland looks like he's going to be possibly your best pass catcher on this football team at some point of his career.
And if he's not, Luther Burden is going to be.
Luther Burden's name is up there with the two guys that were listed as the best in this draft. Luther Burden was a first, maybe first overall pick if he declared for the draft
a year ago,
a year prior. So, I mean, it's no, he wouldn't, because that was that quarterback draft, but he would have been a top 10 pick probably, man, if he was in that draft. And I think both these guys are going to be electric, and Luther Burden's going to find that some point probably this year, Dustin. I do.
Let's go to the chat. Let's go to the chat a little bit. Bizzo says, with all the DJ talk, I bet Ben will feed him Sunday. I don't know how you feel about that, Brandon. I think
Ben tried to feed him already.
I don't like the idea of trying to feed anyone in this offense when you have so many weapons. Let Caleb be the point guard and get the ball to who's open. I feel like when you go into a game with that type of intention, bad things can happen. If DJ is the guy that gets off, he gets off. And I'll just keep making this point. I just don't know that DJ and Caleb are a good fit together. I don't think that DJ is a guy who gets DJ's not a guy who gets off in the scramble drill, Brandon. He's not a guy who breaks off his route and comes back to the quarterback well. There's Burden does it better. Rome does it way better. Cole Kmet does it better. Colston Loveland does it better. DJ becomes the odd man out in this offense, I think, because of how Caleb Williams plays quarterback.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but like that's when he's catching a touchdown, Brandon, it's in structure. It's a timing play. Like he's running the route and Caleb's getting it to him in time. And it's like when that's not happening and Caleb is doing his thing, which is his strength of breaking the pocket and making something out of nothing, DJ's never involved in that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's never involved in that. I think that that's a big part of it from my perspective, because I can't think of any other thing it could be. Personally, and then
I don't know that I love the way Ben Johnson's used DJ Moore. I mean, he's shown the Bears fans that he can be a pretty effective player, but I don't know. I don't love DJ Moore outside. That's where he's played all year. That's not where I think as on the Panthers team he was a little stronger outside, but on this Bears team for all the years he's been here, I think he's found most of his success in the middle of the field. And it's just if this the Ben Johnson style offense. So yeah, Dustin, there is no room because you want Cole Kmet and you want Colson Loveland out there together. You want them both on the field. So you don't want to be throwing DJ Moore in the center as much as he had been playing on the Bears team, especially with a guy like Luther Burden, who's got speed
Who's eating in the middle of the field
to
as well.
take the top off
Yeah.
of these guys.
Yeah,
So
and he can get open in the
when you
middle of the field
mentioned he
with
has
that
one
separation.
touchdown, the one touchdown he had, he just burned him.
Well, that was a good play call. That was that flea flicker that DeAndre Swift almost messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the two tight ends is the biggest thing, I think, in regards to that, Brandon. And I think you need both those guys on the field because of the mismatches they create, and you just see it get better and better every week. It started out really slow with that, and it's just growing and developing.
When you
Caleb's starting to see him more. So I mean, like there's gonna be a guy that's not getting theirs in this offense because there's so many guys that can get theirs, and it just seems like more often than not it's been DJ, man. But like you said, DJ's had some good games this year too.
A thing that I've actually kind of pointed out every chance I get, man, is somebody different feeds on this offense, man. Every
That's
week.
what I like. That's because the defense can't game plan on one guy.
There's no constant 100-yard guy. There's no constant every week touchdown guy. I think Loveland can be that, but there hasn't been yet. Somebody has their day. It's either a Monangai game or a DJ Moore game or a Cole Kmet. You know what I mean? It's
DeAndre Swift.
It's always somebody
Colston
different.
Loveland, Luther Burden. Yeah, and that's the way I want it because then you are very unpredictable. A defense can't key on a guy. So I just don't want Ben Johnson to key on DJ Moore, to answer your question, Bizzo. And then the Real Shy asked this question, Brandon. I'm going to let you answer it first. He says, has Loveland had a better season than Tyler Warren?
No, but that's a really hard question because, like,
the way the season started,
opportunity alone would be in the advantage of Tyler Warren.
It's very much in his favor. In terms
Tyler Warren was getting 90% of the snap share early in the season, where Loveland was playing like 35.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, Tyler Warren's a really good football player. I don't want to do this I think they're both going to be really good football players.
I think they both are really good football players right now, Brandon. And there was a point where I think Loveland had 3 targets and Warren had 20. It was capsized in such a strong way towards Warren. And our whole thing was at that time is like, you can't judge Loveland against Warren when Loveland's not getting the opportunities. You can't judge Loveland just on his own when he's not getting the opportunity to do what he does best, which is catch the ball, get separation against linebackers and safeties and do what he does well. So as those targets have increased, Loveland has kind of started to outpace Warren, so it's
like a per capita conversation.
Yeah, it's gone back and forth, but it comes down to skill set. What do you prefer? What kind of tight end do you want? Because I think I prefer Loveland. Honestly, I do, and I felt that way since the draft. And I'm surprised that I was surprised that I felt that way because I really liked Warren. But Warren is a damn good player, and it's like, what's your cup of tea? Mostly, to me, I think they're both damn good football players already, Brad.
And Warren does a lot of things, so you want to make sure you're focused on getting Warren the ball in a lot of ways, which just means a lot in general. More snaps. Like I said, the snap share was high for Warren because he can do a lot of things. I don't know that guy fits in this Bears offense. We just talked about it. There's so much talent here. Colston Loveland is more to me an inline traditional tight end. He's just really athletic one that can kind of play like a wide receiver can from the position.
I think Warren is more of a traditional inline tight end than Loveland, man. I gotta disagree with you.
A lot of people say that to me, and I
think you can spread Loveland out wide a lot easier.
Tyler Warren can play wide. He can play. Tyler Warren
can play Loveland.
Anything. Yeah, but you're not gonna utilize Loveland that way. I don't think.
I think we haven't seen anywhere near how Ben Johnson plans on utilizing Loveland yet. And I think Loveland is a much better run blocker, as we continue talking about, Brandon, than people give him credit for. And I think as this season progresses and you see Loveland
blocker.
He's a damn good blocker. Yeah. And so I think that just gets him more opportunities to do what he's really good at, which is catch touchdowns and get open. So like Loveland has had a better second half of this season up to this point than Warren. But I mean, like, we'll see how it plays out. At the end of the day, it don't really matter. I want to see Loveland helping this team win football games. And just one more point I wanted to make on that, because when you were talking about it, like if you flip-flop Love and Warren, I think Warren would have had a very similar trajectory to his season that Loveland has had right now, and vice versa. Because Warren, as you said, there's so many. I think there's more weapons on this Bears team than there is on that Colts team, and I think that they were much more intentional in getting Warren involved because of that to start the season. And Loveland came along slowly. I think Warren would have done the same thing on the Chicago Bears team with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's making these young guys earn it. And what that does really well is make sure that these guys are ready when they get their time, which I loved.
Warren was immediately
thrown into it.
Either the first or second best target on that football team. Michael Pittman and him.
I think he's first. I think, I prefer Warren.
Downs really fell hard this season. They traded Mitchell.
And I think Loveland would have been in that same situation. I think he would have immediately been
just going to get a big target share.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's a tough comparison, man. But as Brandon said, I think the best way to fall on it is they're both damn good players, and hopefully they're helping their teams win games. I don't much care about the Colts. I want the Bears to win games. I think Loveland has been a fucking awesome player for this Bears offense, and he brings an element to this offense that nobody else on the field can. So I'm super excited about how much better he's going to get. And yeah, Brandon, I said when that draft happened, I think that draft was an A with just the first 2 picks. If they didn't have any more picks after that, they just got Loveland and Luther Burden, I was happy with that draft. It was a fucking smashing success. And then you throw in the fact that you got Ozzie Trapillo, who's now your starting left tackle and he's playing really well. Kyle Monungai, who I said he was going to be that guy. He's going to take Roshan's job. I said that early on in the preseason and the offseason. And it's come to fruition because you can just see it how he runs. And like
Shamar Turner made some impact plays before the injury.
Yeah, and he's going to come back around. So I mean, like Hippolyte got destroyed by Washington as soon as he got an opportunity to play. That one's played out as I thought it was. That was the why the fuck did we draft? Who did we just draft guy? And then as soon as he got an opportunity, I'm like, he's going to actually do something. And then he just got destroyed on a crack block by Darnell Washington. And he's been out ever since, and he might never come back. He hit him so hard. His mom felt that shit too. Jesus Christ. But yeah, overall, very good draft. And I would have been happy with just the top 2 players on that draft. So, I mean, I guess we got off topic a little bit, man. But like, I think this Bears offense can move the ball in this Browns defense as good as they've been. The Browns offense tends to put their defense in some shitty situations, and they're allowing 23.7 points per game. But at the same time, they're not giving up a lot of yardage, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Do you think the Bears are going to score enough to win this game against this Browns defense that's number 2 in yards allowed overall, 272. Number 3 in yards per play, 4.6. Number 10 in opponents' third down conversion percentage. Number 14 in touchdowns allowed at 2.5, and they're allowing 23.2 points per game. That's 17th in the league, Brandon. So as I said, their yard stuff doesn't really match up with their points scored against stuff because they get put in some tough spots by this shitty offense.
Yeah, I think you're asking me for my score. I definitely think the Bears are going to be able to beat this football team. I think Ben Johnson picks up where he left off before the loss to that Packers team in Lambeau. He picks up where he left off at home, and I think we're throwing scores out here, right?
No, I was more just asking you. I mean, we were finishing up our conversation about this Bears offense and that Browns defense. I think to kind of just put a bow on what we've talked about here. Browns offensive line is beat to shit. That's going to be a problem for them. It
sucked anyways.
And they were bad before that. Shador Sanders is really not good against the blitz, and Dennis Allen has shown a propensity to blitz. And it bit him in the ass last week. I think it's going to be really beneficial to him in that Bears defense this week. Bears generate a lot of turnovers. Shador Sanders is going to throw the ball away at least twice. I think we're both banging on that, right, Brandon? Offensively,
or a strip sack.
There's going to be a couple turnovers in this game at the hands of Shador Sanders. Mm-hmm. And Vizzo's jumping in and says Shador should get at least 2 interceptions. Yeah, he should give us at least 2, I think. I agree with you, Vizzo. On the other side of the ball, Caleb is the best in the league by far at avoiding pressure and evading the sacks and making plays, and he's going to do that against this Browns team. The Browns defensive front is their biggest strength, and Myles Garrett could get a sack or 2 according to Brandon. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping they go away from him in every opportunity and just don't give him the opportunity to do that. But if he does, we still don't think that that's going to wreck the game because that Browns offense is so bad that they will put that Browns defense in some shitty situations. I think Luther Burden comes up big in this game. We think Colston Loveland comes up big in this game as much as they pass. But this really is a smash mouth game, as John said earlier in the chat. Control the line of scrimmage, dominate with your awesome offensive line, and just run the ball down their fucking throats. Control the clock, control the game that way. Get out with the win. Move on to next week.
Yeah, I mean, and Ben Johnson.
Did I sum that up pretty well in terms of what we talked about?
Yeah, we want to. Judkins is where you want to keep.
You got to shut down Judkins.
Yeah.
Yes, stack the box, shut down Judkins. Make Shedeur Sanders beat you. Thank you for that, Brandon.
Yeah, and then I think on offense too, it's like,
and we think Rome's going to play as well.
Yeah,
at least I do.
He's limited 2 days in a row, right? Yeah, we did
Yes.
share the injury report, guys. Rome and Tyreek Stevenson
should both play.
Yeah, they might be in line to play some football. But yeah, you got to run football against these guys, man. And I think Ben Johnson's a smart guy. He's going to probably watch, you're watching the Browns tape from last week. There's a lot to be seen there, man. You want to kind of emulate that. The Browns
Titans ran all over them.
Yeah, the Browns just got destroyed on the ground. Destroyed. So this team can be had. And I think I like DeAndre Swift and Monangai better than Pollard and Spears. I do.
100%. I mean, in the Bears' run game, as we said, #1 in the league since they're bye, #2 in the league overall.
And our offensive line's much better than Tennessee's. Much better.
100%. And Tennessee does have a good offensive line. I mean, I believe. I remember we're looking at that when we were doing
running. Not so much in pass protection.
Yeah.
Cam Ward.
So, I mean,
killed.
But as good as this Browns defense has been, I just kind of want to throw this out there to you guys. They gave up 41 to the Ravens in week 2. They gave up 34 to the Lions in week 4. They gave up 21 to the Vikings, 23 to the Steelers, 32 to the Patriots. And that was a game that Garrett had like 4 or 5 sacks. They gave up 27 to the Jets, the fucking Jets. They gave up 26 to the Niners. I mean, 31 to the Titans. This Browns defense has been really good, but they're giving up points, big points in a lot of games to offenses that I don't believe are as good as the Bears. So I think the Bears should be able to put up points in this game, Brandon.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think they run the ball, and I think they just got to be effective in the red zone, man. We talk about this time and time again, and the Bears
be on time.
The Bears have started to do it by certain quarters, like fourth quarter. They're really, but I think you got to play 4 solid quarters of red zone football,
of overall football.
If you do that against any football team, the amount of times the Bears get close to it in the end zone, man. If you're executing every trip you get, they're gonna start really fucking some teams up here. And the Browns would be a good place to start.
Yeah, man, 100%. And I think your 60 minutes point goes to all around football for this team. Like you saw what they can do, what they did in those 30 minutes in the second half against the Packers. If they had done that for 45 minutes or 60 minutes, they had put a complete game together like they did against the Eagles, they weren't going to lose that game as much as Packers fans want to talk shit. They just weren't. Like they controlled that game in the second half completely and utterly. And if they just do that for a full game, Brandon, there's going to be a lot of teams that have a hard time beating them, no matter who they are. You could say the Rams. The Rams would have a tough time beating the Bears if they played the style of football in that second half against the Packers for a full fucking game. So, I mean, that applies. And when you're talking about the red zone, I've been saying this for months, man, and I think the biggest issue for the Bears in terms of those woes in the red zone has been Caleb being off time. And I continue to say it. And you saw the interception he threw. He was running outside, and I mean that was the design of the play. But you're throwing back against your body in a tough spot. When they're in the red zone, I want to see Caleb stand tall in the pocket, and be on time and play within structure because the windows are just so small in the red zone, man. So, and we've seen when he does that, they are successful. He did it against the Steelers. He did it against the Giants. He's done it in games this year where he has been on time and been quick with his decisions and just let it rip.
He did it a lot last year too, man. A lot of his big touchdowns were anticipation throws, not so much on the move.
I like this from Vizzo. He says Grady and Javon need to take advantage of the Browns' backup center. And
we talked about that too.
We didn't mention our D line, but
Bears defensive front needs to really have a show. They need to show out. This is a bad line. It's a bad line. Every team that's played this team has taken advantage of this offensive line. The Bears need to be able to do that when you're paying a lot of money to a guy on the end. So,
And
Montez Sweat
the guy in
has
the
been
middle
good.
and Grady Jarrett.
And
Yeah.
Montez Sweat's been good. So I see that playing in the Bears' favor.
And Jack Conklin, their starting tackle, has been a DMP 2 days in a row as well. So it might not just be the center and the guard, it might be your tackle as well. Like this game lines up perfectly for the Bears, but as we continue to say, and as you said in the offseason, Brandon, this defensive line ain't good enough. And they've been a weak link for this team all year. So it's like it's a weakness against a weakness. It's not the Bears don't. It's like hopefully the Bears are able to like step up and be better than them. But like that I'm not counting on that defensive line to do that until they show me, and they haven't really done that, Brandon. So we'll see if there is a game to do it. It would be this one where half their fucking defensive, three-fifths of their defensive line, starting offensive line, might not be on the field. You know, like that should be easy work for that Bears D line.
I think I expected more against that Packers team, man. I mean, they have some pretty solid tackles, but
starting a rookie at guard and Anthony Belton. I mean, their interior offensive line has been not very good all year, and the Bears really didn't do much. Yes, correct.
Yeah, and it scares me at this juncture because whenever you're watching any quarterback in the NFL, guys sit back there and make progressions, he's gonna find somebody open. That's how this sport works.
Yeah.
The DB can never keep up with the receiver forever. And these guys in the NFL, no matter how good or bad you think this quarterback is, when they have time to throw, they can make throws. That's why they're there.
But Brandon, when you're comparing Jordan Love and Shedeur Sanders, it's not really a comparison.
No,
so that works in the Bears.
But like I said, man, earlier in the show, if you watched the Browns last week, if you watched Shedeur Sanders,
yeah, for sure,
he can make the throw when it's there. He can. He can.
You just can't give it to him. Yeah,
he can make big throws. You got to be careful.
I agree with you 100%. I'm just making Shedeur can beat you over the top, and he can drop a dime on the run. Like
and he can throw
it's
very
the one
much off platform.
100%. And it's that one explosive play he can make that you got to worry about. I mean, consistent play. I don't know that you got to worry about that. And all I was saying is, like, when you're talking about Jordan Love versus Shedeur Sanders, you're not really talking about
and like you said, Dustin, Jordan Love. Jordan Love is actually still pretty young for as well as he does it. But Jordan Love has just mastered how to beat the blitz.
Mm-hmm.
Just not a guy you want to blitz. Not just against the Bears. He's a really good quarterback against the blitz because Jordan Love also makes throws off his back foot and makes them effectively. But Shedeur Sanders is not the same guy.
No.
You're going to cause problems for Shedeur Sanders. You're going to make things good on yourself, easy on yourself, if you blitz him effectively.
The concern with that, Brandon, is like, I don't know. Jordan Love is really good against the blitz, but the Bears blitzes were not getting anywhere near home.
No. Jordan
Love didn't have the pressure in his face at all. Even when they were blitzing, the offensive line held them up and they just never got through. So like if the Bears are blitzing on Sunday against the Browns and they're not getting home, you're making those big time throws for Shedeur Sanders a lot easier to make. So like, yeah, you got to get home when you blitz.
Yeah, it's time for this Bears team to start getting sacks outside of Montez Sweat, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important Austin Booker starts to get some of his own. We start seeing guys put these quarterbacks on the ground. Especially, like I said, Shedeur Sanders can also, it's a strip sack kind of guy. I see that too.
Okay.
Got to get home.
We're going to see some turnovers from Shedeur. And Vizzo says Denver has a top 5 defense. We'll see how Love can do. Hopefully falls apart. Denver has the number 1 defense in terms of getting sacks. They get after the quarterback. So I'm hoping for a Denver win, obviously. But again, that Denver team can be gotten on any week, I think. They've been in close games with teams that are just nowhere near their level. So we'll see how that goes. It's time for our scores, Brandon. You went first last time, I think. So I'll just go ahead and go first. I think the Bears win this game in a pretty confident fashion. Like, I don't think you're going to have to stress about it like we have for pretty much every game this year, besides, the Lions game they got blown out in. Like, these games have all been tight and they've put us through it. I think this is going to be a game where we feel pretty comfortable in the second half, as long as the Bears come out hot and they adjust. they just have not been able to start well in a lot of these games, and I think they got to do that on Sunday, and I think they will. I think they're focused on it. I think the Bears win this game 27-14. Brandon, I think you get a rushing touchdown out of DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monungai, and I mean one throwing touchdown from Caleb, but and a couple field goals from Santos. But I just don't think this Browns offense, as bad as this Bears defense is, I just don't think they're good enough to move the ball. And me and you were texting about this, Brandon, earlier. Like you get that touchdown if you're Shador Sanders, and then Stefanski goes for 2 and pulls Sanders off the field, and it makes no fucking sense. And it's like maybe this team's just kind of bending over and saying, fuck it, we're going to next season. There's that potential too. So if you jump on them quick, they're gonna give up quick, Brandon. And there's just potential for a pretty comfortable win for the Bears in that regard, because this team might be thinking about draft position, especially if you're beating their ass in the first half. 27-13 Bears is what I got.
Yeah, this was definitely going to be the first game that I picked, man, where I gave our opponent a very low score. I was going to say 24-10. I do think that the Browns are able to get in the end zone because Judkins has been pretty consistent in doing that, but I don't think that the Browns score a whole lot of points, man. And I think, like you said, you're pretty comfortable probably going in the second half. The Bears have got this game under control. And I think I'm going to say this, and the two aren't really facing each other. I think Ben Johnson's going to beat the shit out of Kevin Stefanski. I think that's the kind of coach we're looking at now, man. You mentioned the guys he's beaten already. Some of the head coaches this guy stood up to.
Quinn, Carroll, Tomlin, who's it?
Taylor.
Sirianni, all guys.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, Zach Taylor, Cincinnati, all guys that have taken their team to a Super Bowl at least once. And he's outcoached all those guys and beaten them. So, I mean, yeah, he's not a guy who you're going to have the coaching advantage against. I think he kind of outsmarted himself in that Packers game, and I think he's one guy that I don't have worries. Like you used to with Nagy and Flus, you'd be like their ego would get in the way. Ben Johnson's not that guy. He's going to look inward and be like, I fucked up in that game, and I'm going to fix that this week. And he's just going to be about his business. Yeah, he's not going to get outcoached by Kevin Stefanski in this game. No, sir. I agree with you, Brandon. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think this is where Ben definitely separates himself from the boys, man. I mean, these are games I expect the Bears to win, not only because their roster is better, but because their coaching staff in its entirety is better than theirs, and they're going to do it better.
They're going to be more disciplined,
preparing for the game and being disciplined, and
they got more on the line
and executing the game plan. And like you said, Dustin, Ben Johnson knows. Denziano knows who their most important player is and who you need to remove, and Ben Johnson knows the weakest unit on the defense that he can exploit. So that's just the advantage the Bears are going to have with guys like this moving forward, man. As long as Ben Johnson's the coach.
Don't fuck around with this game. Do not look past it and sandwiched in between the two Packers games. 100% come out, be about your business. It's, like you said, this team is very well coached. They're disciplined. They're going to execute. They should make light work of this team. That's how they should approach this game. Like, just get it done, beat the hell out of them, get on out. Don't fuck around. You got to get to 10 wins with this game. You can't go to 5 losses with this game. Like, it's not an option. Just go out and get the win.
I don't know what the Bears. I don't know what's the line.
Honestly, I haven't looked at that. I think it was 6.5. The Bears were favored by. It's been a minute since I'm not. Gambling doesn't go well for me, so I
haven't at all this year.
Yeah, let's see here. I'll get it to you.
I've made like 4 or 5 bets total.
Bears are 7.5 point favorites. Yep, thank you, Vizzo. 7.5 point favorites.
Yeah, we have them covering that. So I mean,
yeah. So don't bet with us because we lose. Bears win.
I do think. I'm going to say Myles Garrett's going to be a problem in this football game against Isaac Chappelle, man. But I think the Bears are able to make that not much of a factor in impacting who wins and who loses.
Well, you're going to see him go against Darnell Wright too. They're going to move him all around. Like Garrett's going to be all across that defensive line. He'll be in the interior too sometimes. So I mean, like, you just got to watch out for Garrett no matter where he is, and just go the opposite way. Like if they're rolling Caleb out, do not roll him out Myles Garrett's way. that will be fucking trouble. And then you'll have one of those, like what you saw against the Raiders when Max Crosby caught Caleb on something like that. And then again, met with something sneaky to watch out for here because we saw it in that Raiders game. The batted balls. It kind of went away. It hasn't really been a concern, but like Myles Garrett and
He had
that
a few against the
Browns
Packers.
defensive line.
Caleb had a few against the Packers.
It hasn't stood out in that way, like in that way, but you could see
they
that
didn't get picked. So
yeah. All right, we both got Bears wins. We both got. You're feeling pretty confident in the second half that the Bears are coming away with the win. I'm good with that. Brandon, what did you want to touch on with Caleb Williams?
Yeah, we'll save him in.
I got something that I want to share. I mean, just in terms of like just a little bit of different stats to look at because I know we're at 2 hours, man. So just but I'm just going to pull this up.
I'm starting my throat is fucking.
All
shit.
right. Well, then let me talk for a second. Let me pull this up on the screen because I think. Can you see it?
I can't. No.
Okay, you're on your phone. Let me go back and just check. It's there. It's okay. There's just a couple of things that I wanted to talk about here with Caleb Williams, just in terms of some advanced passing metrics, because the thing that gets talked about with Caleb all the time is this completion percentage, and it's just kind of it's become too much for me. And you heard Greenberg on First Take or whatever the fuck that Get Up or whatever they do. I don't watch ESPN anymore, to be honest. I just saw a clip on X where he's like, I feel like I'm watching something different when I'm watching Caleb Williams. Like I feel like I'm watching a star being born, and then you hear people talk about Caleb Williams. It's like we're watching two different guys, and that's what me and you have been saying for a year and a half now at this point, Brandon. So just some things to kind of make you feel a little better about Caleb Williams. The first thing I'll highlight here, and again, this is from Pro Football Reference. These are their advanced passing metrics. The throwaways that they've attributed to Caleb are 28. That is second in the league, Brandon. He's one behind Cam Ward, just a couple ahead of Joe Flacco. 19 drops. That's kind of middle of the pack. Like there's some guy like Trevor Lawrence, I think, has like 38 drops. It's like that every year. Trevor Lawrence has such a problem with those things. But the thing that I really wanted to look at here was yards after the catch. Jared Goff leads the league in that at 1,900. Patrick Mahomes 1,803. Caleb Williams is down here. He's in the top 10. Like this Bears offense is getting some yards after the catch. He's at 1,408. But these ones here, the intended air yards, those are air yards on all pass attempts, whether completed or incomplete. So the intention with which a guy is throwing down the field to get big plays and how aggressive they are. Caleb Williams is fourth in the league in that, Brandon. Dak Prescott is up there at number one at 37.73. Patrick Mahomes is number two at 37.64. Matthew Stafford is three at 37.12. Caleb is fourth at 36.40. Look at the quarterbacks he's up there with, Brandon. Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford. These are intended air yards, like what they intended to do when they let the ball go. It's removing the yards after the catch. That's pretty fucking impressive. That you don't see a lot. You go down here, you got Bo Nix a couple spots down. You got Drake May. But, I mean, these are some pretty well-established quarterbacks for the most part up here that Caleb is keeping company with. And then if you look at his intended air yards per attempt, I'll just keep it there because I don't want to look at some of these quarterbacks that their stats are all jacked up. Caleb has 8.4 intended air yards per attempt. Matthew Stafford, 8.6. Patrick Mahomes, 7.9. Dak, 7.8. Jalen Hurts way up there at 9.2. Drake May's a little better than Caleb at 8.8. But Caleb is holding his own in terms of when he's putting the ball downfield, that you're getting a lot of air yards under it, and he is trying to, it shows that he's trying to get the explosives. That's what Ben Johnson wants him to do, and that's what he's executing. Do you have thoughts on that? Do you think this stat stood out to me in a major way because it's not something that I've seen talked about, and when you see the company he's keeping, Brandon, I feel like it's kind of fucking impressive.
Well, when you see the company he's keeping with some of those guys, and then you know, those stats that you're talking about, like you said, this all revolves around the big play and taking risks. And Caleb still has one of the lowest interception numbers this season. So, yeah, he's just impressive, man. I mean, he's impressive. And these are things that, you know, you can dig into these metrics and you can prove to yourself in a lot of ways that Caleb has grown
Is right on
tremendously.
point with where he's supposed to be.
Tremendously, because if
Yes.
you can, guys, if you and you're and you know, here's the problem too, Dustin. A lot of people are comparing Caleb Williams' numbers and completion percentage right now to the first week of the season, right? But if you compare Caleb Williams' immediate growth from Ben Johnson's system to last
To
year,
last year, it's a giant
he's
difference.
just an
Completely different player.
incredibly more developed player than he was. Because if you're looking at some of these other guys like Jaden Daniels, where not only is he injured a lot, but I thought it just didn't look the same to me when the guy was throwing the football this year. Man, when he played the Bears, he was awful. But Caleb has made the progress even even in a new system that you hope a quarterback would from rookie year to sophomore year, where some of these other guys haven't. So if you're not impressed by the development in Ben Johnson's system, in particular from week 1 till now, you cannot deny the growth in this kid, man.
And Brandon, another point to make: a lot of Packers fans throwing out what Jordan Love is doing versus what Caleb Williams is doing. Caleb Williams, as you just said, is in his second year. His first year was a complete travesty: 68 sacks, thrown to the wolves, multiple different offensive coordinators, still hung in there. Jordan Love, you know how many pass attempts he had in his first 2 years, Brandon?
None.
83. You know how many Caleb Williams has up to this point? I believe it's 993. He's not even finished with his second year. Look at these attempts for on the season. Dak Prescott's at the top with 484, Mahomes 474, Bo Nix 470, Cam Ward is right there at 440 as a rookie. That's fucking crazy. Matthew Stafford 432, Caleb Williams right behind him at 431. Caleb is 7th in the league in pass attempts, and this is his first year in Ben Johnson's offense. So that tells you that Ben Johnson is trusting him to throw the ball, and that he's letting him do it, and that the growth is happening because of that. Another stat I want to look at is completed air yards. Total yards completed, passes traveled in the air past the line of scrimmage before being caught. This is a good one that stood out to me as well. He's not as high up in this one. Drake May is number 1. This is like with the completion versus just the intended air yards, whether it's complete or incomplete. Drake May at 2,045. Matthew Stafford right behind him at 2,041. Prescott 2,037. Sam Darnold 1,863. Daniel Jones 1,750. Those are your top 5. Caleb Williams is a little farther down the line. He is just behind Patrick Mahomes and just above Jared Goff in completed air yards at 1,500. At 6 yards per completed air yards per completion. 6 yards. So he's better than Jared Goff at that. Jared Goff's at a 5. He's better than Josh Allen at that. Josh Allen's at a 5.4. He's better than Bo Nix. Bo Nix is at a 4.5. He's better than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is at a 5.3. Justin Herbert, a 5.8. Caleb Williams is better at completed air yards per attempt than some of the best quarterbacks in the league, Brandon. And this is his first year in Ben Johnson's offense and his second year in the NFL. Does that stand out to you in any way? Do you understand like the stat and what that entails? You with me, Brandon? All right, this is good pod. Good job, bud. Appreciate you stepping away and not saying shit. So the point I'm trying to make is that if you dive into some of these deeper stats, you see that Caleb is coming along and that his passing.
Sorry, I had to blow my nose, man. Sorry.
Okay, his passing is leading to this Bears offense being explosive and this Bears offense getting down the field, and he's doing what Ben Johnson is asking him to do. The completion percentage is not there right now, but I think if you pull out those 28 throwaways, which again he's second in the league at, you're looking at like a 61% completion percentage, which is what he did last year. But I would much rather he throw the ball away. He's being smart with that. Remember all last year, we just kept saying, Caleb, throw the ball away, throw the ball away. And now he's doing it. And everyone's bitching about his completion percentage.
You can see the difference in his sack numbers alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like
he's throwing the ball away more, and he's protecting his body more, and he's not making, the mistakes will obviously come down if you're throwing the ball away instead of trying to force throws. But yeah, there's so many places you can look at Caleb and see where things have just gotten tremendously better.
And when you dive into some of these advanced stats, Brandon, and like these are things guys look at because this eliminates the yards after catch stuff. This is just what the quarterback is doing. I'm taking the ball, it's going from my arm to that receiver. And when you dive into some of that stuff, he is better than or on par with some of the best quarterbacks in the league. Did you hear me reading off the guys he's better than in the completed air yards per
Yeah,
completion?
he was above Jared Goff. Yeah.
He's above Patrick Mahomes. He's better than Justin Herbert in that regard. So, I mean, like, there are some positives here. And again, that's something that you look at when you're evaluating quarterback play because it eliminates what the receiver does after they catch the ball. It's just about what the quarterback does with the ball from his arm to the receiver. Now, let's be fair and look at this bad percentage because he's high up there, man. I mean, you got a bunch of shitty guys up here that have thrown one or two passes. But Caleb Williams right here has 92 bad throws and a 22.9% bad throw percentage. That's where he's got to get better, right? In terms of the decision making, in terms of putting the ball on target. The ball placement has been my biggest issue where he's not leading his receivers in order for them to be able to do something with it after the catch. Like those things become the problem. And these are the things that they got to be working on. If you look at bad throws overall, he's number one in the league. The guy right behind him is Patrick Mahomes at 81, but Caleb Williams, according to these guys, Pro Football Reference, has 92 bad throws on the year. So that's got to get better. And that lends itself to that shitty completion percentage, just like throwing away the ball does, but there's good and bad with that. So, I mean, it's not all like flowers and roses and making excuses for Caleb. We see the bad throws, right, Brandon? But the things he is doing well, I don't think get acknowledged enough as the things that he's doing poorly get focused on by a lot of people in media and fans, man.
Yeah, and I think it's important to try to kind of, when you're evaluating your quarterback, and especially where he is in his development or his progression, like, is he aiding in winning games? Is he aiding in losing games? Or is he not having all that big of an impact at all? And I think when you look at Caleb Williams, no matter where you want him to be, and you can attribute a lot of the stuff that's happening here, guys, to Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson alone, but it takes the guy that Ben Johnson's trying to fit into a system developing just the same as it is Ben Johnson having the impact he does. So I would say that Caleb has made winning efforts as a quarterback under Ben Johnson.
Well, answering that question, Brandon, from my perspective, he's also had some losing efforts, and that's what you expect from a young quarterback in their first year in a very complex.
He sealed that. I don't know.
No, the Vikings game. No, the Vikings game, Brandon. He made some very bad throws there.
Our special teams kind of.
Yeah, no, but like in that first Vikings game, the throw he missed to DJ, there was a lot of throws that he missed that could have won that game. We missed the
field goal, and we didn't get the ball in the back of the end zone. That's
but you don't need that, Brandon, if Caleb makes some of those throws. So let's acknowledge that he wasn't good in the Detroit Lions game at all, and in the Ravens game, it was one of his better completion percentage games, but he had the pick. So, I mean, he has done both. He has aided in winning. If you're being honest, he has aided in winning in the games that they've won, and he's aided in losing in the games that they've lost. And it's not linear. It's not just this straight line. There's going to be ups and downs. You expect that from a second-year player in a first-year offense. No, it's just about his development. It's not linear, man.
Well, yeah, and if you were to be upset,
ups and downs.
If he loses to a Packers or a Lions team at the end of the season, well, it's a good football team. Doesn't matter where it fell in the season or where it fell along Caleb's timeline.
Well, again, though, I'm just talking about what's on Caleb. The competition is going to be the competition, but like in terms of Caleb missing throws, that has happened this year, Brandon, and it has contributed to losing football games. Like, we got to be honest about that, in my mind.
Yeah, I would say the Ravens game too. I'd say the Ravens and Packers game, I would say. But
and the Vikings.
But every
and the Lions.
See, I don't put that Lions. The Bears got hammered.
Okay, so would you give it the Vikings game? I came on.
No, I would put the Vikings game more on Ben Johnson. To be honest.
No, I came on here and
it's like
JJ McCarthy outplayed Caleb in
because the Bears needed a field goal, and I firmly believe if you had given Caleb the ball with some time back, he would have gotten your field goal. But
yeah, but they wouldn't have been in that position if he hit some throws earlier in that game, Brandon.
That's sure, man. But I mean, there's a lot of every quarterback did something when they lose a game, but I don't know if I could say like it's on him. I don't know. So I think his
I guess
win.
my point was he's done both, and that's
And
okay.
I think that he's done more winning than losing. If you're looking at the
Obviously, they're
record.
9-4.
That's what I'm saying. So like, no matter how you
Thanks,
feel about
Rizzo.
Caleb's development, or where you think he had the point that you think he should have achieved by now and hasn't yet, has it really made that big of an impact over the Bears winning football games and possibly being in the hunt for this playoff seed? I would say it hasn't. I don't think that you could say Caleb was detrimental to the team's success. Where a lot of developing,
we'll just agree to disagree there, man, because there's some where that shows, man. But again, I'm not saying that as like.
Well, here's a good example, man.
I'm just
there's a team in our division
that should be expected with a
I'm
quarterback.
gonna kind of prove. I'm gonna kind of prove what I'm saying. There's a team in our division that won 14 games last year, and that same football team went with a young quarterback who needs to develop. Right? You can't just throw this kid aside yet. He's got to develop. But while developing, he made a good football team bad.
That's a good point.
Caleb Williams hasn't made that impact while learning Ben Johnson's system.
Not to that level. Definitely not. Not to the level of JJ McCarthy. And
where you're derailing his season because the guy's just not good enough. You know
that's a good point, Brandon. But I think we're both making good points. One other thing, maybe a couple other things I want to point out, because these stats were really interesting to me when I started looking at them. Caleb is the second most blitzed quarterback in the NFL, Brandon. Did you know that? Jalen Hurts is 143. Caleb and Dak are tied at 132 times they've been blitzed this season. So you're talking about Caleb Williams' completion percentage when he's one of the most, gone after quarterbacks in the fucking league. He's been hurried 63 times. Let's look at that. That's number one in the league. Caleb Williams has been hurried more times than anyone in the league by a lot. Cam Ward is second at 49. So Caleb is having to make plays, as we talked about. He's fucking really good. He's the best in the league at getting away from those blitzes and those hurries and those pressures and making something out of nothing. But obviously, when you're being targeted that much, it can affect any quarterback's completion percentage. We've seen Jared Goff this year have a fucking 50% completion percentage when he was under duress the entire game. When that defense went after him like that. I believe that was was that the Texans defense? Or what defense was it the Eagles? I don't there was a game this year, it was a primetime game where Jared Goff just looked like shit. I think it was the Eagles, yes.
They lost to the Eagles because they only scored like 9 points or something.
Yeah, Jared Goff was completely inaccurate in that game because he was under pressure being blitzed the entire fucking game. And then this one right here, times the QB was pressured. These are hurries, hits, and times sacked. Caleb's at 112. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth in the league. The only guys ahead of him are Justin Herbert, who has been running for his life all year. He's been hit more than any quarterback in the league. Or no, actually, no, he hasn't. He's been pressured more than any. He's been hit up there. He's second in the league behind Patrick Mahomes. But Justin Herbert, Cam Ward, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, those are the only guys that have been pressured more than Caleb Williams this year. Caleb Williams has been pressured 112 times. He's attempted 431 passes. So that's a lot. That's a lot of his attempts. He has been under pressure, and that's obviously going to lend itself towards impacting your completion percentage.
Well,
now you can't.
I'll say this, man, because now that you say that, like, it's like you're reading these numbers and you would think this offensive line is like egregiously bad. And now that I see how good they are, it kind of implicates how good they weren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he was pressured a lot in that Packers game.
You're watching this offensive line and you're like just genuinely impressed. Like in the second half of that Packers game, man, or against the Steelers, against Dallas, it was like, man, this is one of those lines. Our quarterback's like the best in the league. The guys who can just sit back there and pick you to pieces. And even after mentioning the Cowboys, as good as they've played recently, man, it kind of opens your eyes to early in this season how bad it fucking was. And it might have been a lot of Braxton Jones. It was a lot of Braxton Jones. But
Yeah, and then it was some Theo Benedette too. And I mean, according to PFF, Ozzie Trillo didn't allow any pressures this past week. I mean, he's been a much better pass protector. But yeah, their offensive line, as it's currently constructed, is the best version of the offensive line that they've had all year. 100%, Brandon, and they are getting better. I just think it's important to note that Caleb Williams has been pressured on 25% of his attempts, basically. That's an important thing to note. But I guess the counter argument to that, Brandon, would be Justin Herbert's not completing under 60% of his passes. Patrick Mahomes is not completing under 60% of his passes. He's having one of his worst completion percentage seasons that he's had in his career, but he's still not that low. Dak Prescott is not completing under 60% of his passes. But what's the difference between those three guys and Caleb Williams? They're veteran quarterbacks who have, been in the NFL for a long time, and Patrick Mahomes has played high level football his entire career. Dak Prescott is one of the most veteran quarterbacks you can get. So like, you can kind of understand why it would make sense that Caleb's accuracy could be affected in a brand new offensive system, being blitzed and pressured as much as he is.
Dude, the Patrick Mahomes has played in one system his whole career.
Caleb's only going to get better, Brandon.
Caleb's played in two systems in 2 years.
Yep. And the first one wasn't really a system. There wasn't really anything systematic about it.
It had broken before it began. As soon as he said it's the hits principle, there was no more system.
And the other thing that stood out to me is Caleb's scrambles. He's got 32 scrambles. Justin Herbert has 39 scrambles on this year, Brandon. Can you believe how much he's running for his life? It's insane. Like you don't even think of him as that kind of quarterback. But Caleb Williams has 32 scrambles. He's averaging 9.3 yards per scramble. That's impressive. It really is, right? Like, I mean,
it's almost a first down per carry.
Yeah, what he's able to make out of those situations is great. So again, intended air yards, completed air yards. He's a top 10 quarterback in the league. He's up there with some of the best in the league, and he's honestly better than some of them. He's thrown the ball away the second most times in the league, only behind Cam Ward at 28. He's been blitzed as much as anybody in the league. There's only Jalen Hurts is in front of him in that. He's been hurried more than anyone in the league, and he's been pressured the fifth most in the league up to this point in the season. So all of those things tend to lend themselves to like seeing both sides of it, right?
It is important to note, though, that like if you're up there for one of the most a quarterback with one of the highest pass attempts, naturally your pressures are going to be higher as well, because there's just more opportunity for the opposing team to pressure you.
Well, again, 6th in the league in pass attempts right now as a second-year quarterback in a first-year offense. Mm-hmm. The amount that Ben Johnson is trusting him is crazy. And it's important to note that, yeah, he's up there, 92 bad throws, highest in the league, bad throw percentage, one of the worst in the league. But, when you're the being pressured part kind of lends itself towards bad throws, towards mistakes happening. And as you pointed out, the interceptions are not really coming as a result of that. He still limits his turnovers. He still helps his team win the turnover battle, though he is under that duress. He still limited his sacks, even though he is still facing the blitz more than basically anybody in the league and pressures more than anybody in the league. And he's still limited the amount of sacks that he's taken by like 2/3. Yeah. So don't tell me Caleb Williams is not developing. Don't tell me that he is not getting better. As we've been saying all year, man, the play on the field is showing it, what you're seeing with your eyes, and these underlying numbers are kind of showing it too. And I think there's a lot of positive in these underlying numbers that I just wanted to dive into a little bit, just to kind of give some perspective on where he is versus where people want to think that he is. And the most important point, Brandon, that you made, Patrick Mahomes been in one system his whole career. Caleb Williams is now in his second system in his second year, and these are the results you're getting, and it's only going to get better. And this team is 9-4 right now with a rookie head coach, second-year quarterback, his first year in that offense.
Yeah, I mean,
it's perspective.
It's hard for me. Like, a player is going to do one of two things, Dustin. They're going to regress or they're going to progress. Because as far as I'm concerned, if a player plateaus, that's just regression. And so Caleb is not a guy to me who's going to forget how to do the things he does well. He's just a guy who's going to add more things to the arsenal that is Caleb Williams. And I think he's going to do the things that Ben Johnson is best at coaching somebody to do. That's the whole point of this.
Yeah, man.
Is Caleb has the thing that Ben Johnson wants out of a guy that he doesn't have, or that he can't coach. You know what I mean?
Caleb does things that you'll never coach. His natural abilities.
Yeah, Ben's looking at Caleb.
That's why he was drafted #1 overall.
Ben's looking at Caleb when he said when he wanted to be here, because Caleb, he's looking at him like, I can coach that. I can coach that. I can fix that. I'll take care of that.
But I won't get nobody anywhere else.
Yeah, nobody can coach that. You know what I mean? So
exactly, Brandon.
That's so. I believe that you're just going to see the growth, improvement, and progression at the same rate you're seeing it now. But I believe by 20, like a lot of these things, the offensive line, these units, a lot of these things have gotten better. The rush defense, a lot of things have improved. The Caleb Ben thing is a thing I think you're going to see kind of boom next season. I really believe that's when it's going to happen. You're going to see sky's the limit kind of thing.
And this comes full circle because I made this point a couple months ago. I've been making it all year. Like, Ben Johnson wants to take the elements of his offense that work in the NFL and his game plans and get Caleb to think the way he does and see the field the way he does and make the right decisions and combine that with what Caleb does naturally, that, like you said, nobody can fucking coach, and make the most, dominant offense in the NFL. When you finally get Caleb to get to that level where he's doing the things that Ben Johnson wants to do and running Ben Johnson's offense, but the way Caleb Williams does it because of just his natural abilities, you have an unstoppable force. And Ben Johnson said that this week. Like, that's been his goal this whole time, slowly but surely. And the thing that keeps Ben Johnson invested in doing that is the fact that Caleb Williams is that fucking good. And he's just scratching the surface of what he's capable of. And some of those numbers I just showed you really showed that. And once Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams meet in the middle, it's not all, Caleb just needs to run Ben's offense or Ben just needs to let Caleb be Caleb. It's this combination. Because the other thing that really stood out over here, and let me find it here, because play action. Let me see here. Play action pass yards. What is it? God damn it. There was something that stood out to me in play action, but Caleb Williams ain't up here like I thought. What am I missing? There he is. Play action pass yards. I know I'm not sharing the screen, but I was just looking for this. Jared Goff is #1 in the league at play action pass yards at 1258. Matthew Stafford is #2 at 1243. Sam Darnold is #3 at 1096. Caleb Williams is #4 at 965 play action pass yards on 133 attempts. So the under center thing is working. The play action thing that we knew Ben Johnson was bringing here is working, and you're just seeing it slowly happen where Ben Johnson's just sticking with it and just he's getting better at this. He's getting better. He's right where we want him to be. He's right where we want him to be, because he knows that once Caleb gets to that point and you bring along all of this X factor potential Caleb Williams has, you're not gonna be able to find a defense that can stop this shit. That's what I firmly believe, and I think Ben Johnson believes that as well. And you heard him say it to the media this week. That's why I wanted to touch on this more than anything, because of what Ben Johnson said and how much that has echoed what you and me have been saying this whole fucking season, this whole offseason, Brandon. That's the goal here. Don't get short-sighted. You got to think long-term here. You got to think long-term here. You can talk about Caleb's completion percentage. Meh. It's going to get better. Things are going to get better.
When you're going to ask yourself, what do you got? And I've asked this.
What's up, Phil?
I've asked this of most people. What's going on, Phil? I've asked this of most people. Do you believe Do you believe in Ben Johnson? It's such a strange question to ask because I don't think you interpret the way I'm asking. Like, did you expect the Bears did you not give the Bears a chance to beat the Eagles or the Packers? I'm not
I
talking
didn't.
about you, Dustin. I'm talking about the people, you guys out there in the world. Did you believe the Bears were the team that was out there, was in that locker room, good, better, best, all that? Did you believe it? And do you believe it now? And so, like, the Ben Johnson thing, do you
Ben Johnson
believe
effect.
that will play out where Caleb Williams will become the guy that Ben Johnson's talking about? Because do you believe in Ben Johnson? Like, that's what you got to ask yourself. It's like, oh, Caleb looks like shit. I don't like his completion percentage. He's never going to get better. Well, if you think that,
Then you don't believe in Ben Johnson.
that is why I
Yeah.
keep asking people that question.
Mhm.
If you can
Yep.
say something like that, do you really trust your head coach?
And where I'm at, Brandon, is I didn't believe that they would have this much success, the success that they're having right now, this
Yeah,
quickly.
they're like a year ahead of
They've already
schedule for
blown away my
standards, man.
expectations.
Yeah.
And I had high
They could have
expectations
come out
in
with
terms of Caleb and Ben Johnson.
They could have come out with 7-8 wins, and you would have been like, okay, we're not moving on from this. We still got to see it. You know what I mean? So, like, what they're doing right now is already impressed.
Yep.
For me, I gave them 9 wins this year.
I had 8.
I had them at 9. I had them at 9 and 8.
They've already beat my expectations and they tied yours, and they're about to beat the Browns this week to go to 10 fucking wins. Listen,
So, yeah.
I hope. Listen, I know I just threw those at you, those numbers. Did they give you some perspective that you didn't have before about Caleb Williams'
Well, yeah, I think
success so far this season?
I always knew when people were talking about completion percentage. I was always thinking to myself, besides the yards and touchdowns and attempts,
Yeah, the surface level stats.
like,
Yeah,
I was like, I know there's some metrics that could prove Caleb is like growing tremendously in some ways, and those are them. So yeah, I appreciate it, man, and I feel like it proves a point. And Ben Johnson's not unaware of this stuff, and it proves a point. Like the growth in some of the places that might be most important for a player's future is where Caleb is showing me his immediate impact under Ben Johnson. The growth in a thing like a completion percentage, that's in due time.
I think so. I think so. But I mean, and the reality is, if that growth doesn't happen this year, which is not going to, it most likely will bite the Bears in the ass in some kind of situation. If they make the playoffs, Caleb's inaccuracy will bite them in the ass. And that's just something we're gonna have to live with. That interception that he threw at the end of that Packers game is a learning moment. That's a moment we look back on when Caleb's kicking ass and dominating the league and say, remember when he didn't get it done? And look at him now, how he is getting it done, in those big moments.
And throwing the ball away, like just that alone. Let's talk about like that.
28 throwaways, second in the league for
So
Caleb
he's second in the league in throwing the ball away, and you can obviously attribute that to taking less sacks for sure. But the thing that makes me feel better about that is I was terrified for Caleb's health after the season that he had as a rookie.
And he had to do something about it.
Ass kicked. And he's protecting himself now. And that statistic, second in the league at throwing the ball away. He's protecting his body, and when he runs, he slides now. Last year, he was taking willing to take hits a little more. So, like, yeah, the growth that Caleb's made is more important than completion percentage. Taking less sacks, guys, is so much more important than completion percentage.
Ask Jaden Daniels if taking
You know what
less
I mean?
hits is better
So, like,
for your
to
career.
me, he's made growth in some of the things that are most vital to his career. I really believe that.
And to being able to be on the field to continue to develop and get all those attempts, which he is 6th in the league at right now in Ben Johnson's offense in his first year. So again, I think that attempt that's a surface level thing, man. But like the fact that Ben Johnson has this run game that's working so well, and Caleb is 6th in the league in pass attempts, tells you really how much Ben Johnson trusts Caleb Williams.
And
it really does.
Shows you just the tremendously surgical balance of Ben Johnson's offense. The run to pass. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're talking about how effective the run game is, but how much Caleb also throws. This is Ben Johnson's thing.
Well,
And if
the
you
Bears
go,
are
if you
running
go,
47% of the time. That's fifth in the
yeah, if
league.
you go back and look at this, but
They're passing
47%,
52.95% of the time.
right.
That's 28th in the league.
47-52 though. You know what I mean? 47-53. So this is where, but if you go back and look at Ben Johnson throughout all the times he's been calling plays, going back to Detroit, his run pass is almost always 50-50. I mean, he hits it on the fucking head. So that's another thing that Ben Johnson is going to help in Caleb's development is like, you make the throws when you have to, man. You know what I mean? We want to depend on these guys behind you. We want these guys taking the hits. We want these guys carrying the ball. We want to depend. We want to depend on it, especially when you're playing in Chicago. And Ben Johnson does a phenomenal job at scheming up the run, man. After that bye week, so that's gonna protect Caleb as well.
Yeah,
Man.
you can't really.
Again, so
yeah.
you're talking now. You're just talking about not when we're talking about Caleb, and you're talking about the throwaways. Now you just made a good point. And Ben Johnson's scheming up a much more effective run and more willing to do it than we were last year. So that's protecting Caleb's health as well.
Yep.
So
and in summation, you look at those intended air yards and the intended air yards per completion per attempt, and the completed air yards and the completed air yards per completion. That shows you that Caleb is doing what Ben Johnson wants. Ben Johnson wants aggressive downfield throws, trying to get explosives. Caleb is executing that. He's doing it pretty well. As one of the best in the league, actually, in terms of doing that. And that's going to bring down your completion percentage a little bit. Let's just be honest. And then if you look at the play action yards, which he is fourth in the league at, right behind some of Matthew Stafford, who's your MVP right now, Jared Goff and Sam Darnold, some of the better quarterbacks in the league right now that are playing. He's fourth. That shows you that he's buying into Ben Johnson's offense and running his system because, as you said, he balances, he leans towards the run in order to get the play action pass, and Caleb is executing that well. So Caleb is executing the things that Ben Johnson is asking him to execute, which is why every time Ben Johnson talks about Caleb Williams, he says he's right where we want him. I think Caleb is right where we want him to be. That is important. And then you throw in the fact that he's the most pressured quarterback in the NFL, the fifth most pressured quarterback in the NFL, the second most blitz quarterback in the NFL, and the most hurried quarterback in the NFL, shows you that he is creating when there's nothing there, which Ben Johnson references all the time as well. There's a lot of times where he creates a play out of nothing and saves my ass. And that's the stuff you can't coach. So you see Caleb buying into what Ben wants, and you see Ben acknowledging what Caleb does well, that Ben will never be able to coach into him or out of him. And you see those things starting to come together. And this is just the inception of that. We are in the very early stages of those things meshing and becoming something really fucking beautiful.
And we gotta hang this up soon, but I gotta say this.
This is a really good conversation, though. We should have done this earlier because this is like a good meat and bone shit.
Damn it, man! No, I think I lost it. I think I lost it. I had something that I was on to just now.
I was talking about Ben and Caleb buying into Ben's system, and Caleb is right where we need him to be.
As Bears fans, watching Matt Nagy, okay, and watching the Justin Fields experiment, and you're watching this guy that you're like, remember, Dustin, you were just talking about there's a guy who's like the best at something in the league, like the best. Justin Fields was definitely up there when it came to like running the football from the quarterback position.
Yeah,
and you're watching Matt Nagy, there's this puzzle, and there's one piece left,
forcing him to do shit that he's not good at.
There's this puzzle, and there's one piece left, and it's this triangle-shaped piece, and the Bears have this like whatever square, and they're just constantly trying to jam it into this spot, and it's like, this is not what the dude does. And then Ben Johnson, we take for granted Ben Johnson wants Caleb to be what every Bears fan seems to want Caleb to be, like this pocket, this guy, this Jared Goff like guy who's just clean and surgical and picks you apart. But Ben Johnson is like, there's no fucking way I'm taking that out.
Ben Johnson's like, this piece is square.
Yeah.
This piece is square.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fit it right into where it needs to go.
This is the triangle. And you know what, man? And you can tell he gets excited when he's like, I don't want Caleb to stop doing it, because people are like, do you think Caleb is doing too much? And he's like, I'm not going to ask him to stop doing it. I don't stop doing
You
that.
don't want to
It's
coach
like,
that out of him. He
yeah,
continually says that. He continually says that.
yeah.
So he's doing a very good job of getting Caleb to do the things that he can do
And
well
he's
within
not
his system,
stubborn.
and letting Caleb do the
Yeah,
things that he does
right.
great
And
just on his own outside of that structure. He's
he's not
finding a very good
stubborn
balance.
like our other
Yes.
coaches, where it's like, I need you to be the guy that does in this system. Like, no, Ben was like, I'm gonna build this system around Caleb, but also like on top of just, I think the system has to include the things that he does best. So it's not like I need him to fit my mold. It's like I have to use the stuff that he's doing extremely well. And why wouldn't any coach think that about any player?
Yeah, no, the Ben
The
is
Justin Fields thing was infuriating, because it's like,
yep.
what? I don't get it, man. Like, he's not under center pocket guy. What are you doing? And it was just week after week after week. It was like, all right. So it was
Those
like,
stats,
wow, you're
yep,
really gonna do this, Matt? Really, Nagy? You're gonna just let your career
continue to
burn?
force him to do something
Yeah,
that he's not good
yeah.
at and
And
not
you're
take
gonna
advantage
you're
of
gonna
his strength.
sink your own career
Yep.
to
Out of
keep
ego and
forcing this game.
stubbornness. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Ben Johnson is not that guy, and
Those
that's
stats I just
awesome.
showed, they show that the Ben Johnson system is coming to Caleb, and Caleb is going to Ben Johnson system, and they're coming together perfectly. It's just going to take a
It's
little more
harmony,
time.
man.
But right
It's
now,
harmony.
while they're on this rocky road where they're fucking figuring it out, they're still 9-4 with a chance to go 10-4. And Caleb Williams is winning you games with his arm and his brain and his feet. And Ben Johnson don't want him to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't
And Ben
sacrifice
Johnson,
completion percentage for big plays down the field, which Caleb can get you. And that's what Ben Johnson wants.
and Ben Johnson is winning you football games by playing chess from the guy across from him.
Yep.
And guess who his queen is?
The guy with the painted fingernails.
I was hoping you did it, but yeah. So like, this is exactly where, as at least on here, man. I'm gonna say this, Shorty. You've been here for a while. You can attest. At least on the bare minimum, this is exactly where we wanted Ben and Caleb to be. Caleb keeps saying, Ben
No,
keeps
they're
saying,
beyond it. They're
yeah,
beyond it.
Ben keeps saying, this is exactly where we want Caleb to be. He's right where we want him to be. Like, this is what we wanted. This is what we wanted for sure. Like, this is it.
Stop looking for all the negatives. We're just in the early
Stop
parts of
looking
this.
for where you believe they should be, and just embrace where they are, because
Yep.
it's far ahead of what they should actually be doing.
And
So
because it's a lot more
beyond the expectation. It is.
Yes. And Brandon, and because it's a lot more fucking fun to do that too. Just enjoy this season. Enjoy what Caleb's putting on the field. Enjoy what Ben Johnson is doing with
It's
his team.
infuriating. It's self-infuriating to have to every fan out there, right? You know, every Bears analyst, every NFL analyst, every Bears fan was, that I think Ben Johnson. I
We
like
love you
Ben
too,
Johnson.
Shorty.
I like Ben Johnson. I think love you, Shorty. I like Ben Johnson. I think this team could be like 7, 8, maybe even 9 wins. Like, that's what we're doing. And now they're at 9 wins. They have a probability of at least 10 and a possibility of 11, 12.
66% probability for the
And
playoffs.
people are like, they gotta just fix this thing, man. Like, it's like, well, maybe they're actually ahead of where we expected them to be initially, and now we're just kind of like, we talked about this, Dustin.
Those expectations got
We've passed
too high.
our
Like,
expectations. We've passed our own expectations.
we reset them, and now we're holding them to a standard that don't seem fair. Yeah. Listen, I think we're
Dustin, I don't know if you lost me or I lost you. Thank you, Shorty. We appreciate that. A lot of love, man. I think we lost Dustin, guys. I'm not sure. Shorty, throw me in the chat if you're still watching. Are you seeing me? Throw that in the chat for me, buddy. Yeah, guys, if you are still hearing me, it's pretty clear the impact that Ben Johnson's already had over Caleb Williams, and you have to imagine in such a short period of time that they did accomplish what they have. By next season or even 2 years from now, this is going to be something that I think becomes pretty lethal in the NFL. Something that becomes pretty tough to defend. So I think the expectations that you had before this season started, as soon as you hired Ben Johnson and he drafted his first class of players, the expectation that you had of the Bears then should still be the expectation that your timeline shouldn't have changed all that much. And I think that you should appreciate that the Bears are actually probably ahead of that timeline as far as I'm concerned. I think they're probably I think you can claim that the Bears are a year ahead of their schedule in regards to how good this team can be, even if you want to call it a rebuild, but at least a new branding. So, yeah, guys, I think you should appreciate the Bears. You should appreciate where they're at. You should appreciate what Ben Johnson's already done. You should appreciate how much Caleb Williams has already grown inside this offense and how much potential there is there to considering how quickly it's happened. So, I think Dustin, my other areas, maybe not. We might not get Dustin back, guys. It sounds like his Wi-Fi took a shit. That always sucks. We're all familiar with that feeling.
Yo,
There he is.
my Wi-Fi just shut out completely, just completely dead zoned me. God damn. Sorry about that, guys. Listen, I was in the middle of saying we're done. So I was just gonna try to sign us off here. We love you guys. We appreciate it. We got the pregame on Sunday, right? For the Bears Browns game.
Good, sir.
And everybody's jealous of our Johnson.
That's right. Everybody's jealous of our Johnson.
All right, man. We're both on our phones. It's time to go.
Yeah.
Have a
Bear
great
down,
night.
guys.
Appreciate y'all. Bear down. I can't play the outro, so we're just gonna go ahead and end this. Love you bunches. Appreciate you.
Bear down.